Chapter 1930. Jian Shisan's body suddenly glowed with sword energy, shattering the long sword suspended in the air. A dragon pearl suddenly emerged, shrouded in the black clouds, shining brilliantly. Then, an illusory sword appeared in Jian Shisan's hand. In the great path of the sword, everything was a sword. There was a sword in the hand, but there was also no sword. The powerful sword energy raged down, bombarding Shi Feng's robe. "Break!" Jian Shisan shouted. The robe on Shi Feng's body suddenly shattered, turning into specks of light that scattered in the air. This. Shi Feng turned pale with fright. However, he did not even have the time to be shocked by the shattering of his robe. This was because his entire body was about to disintegrate under the devouring of the vast sword energy at the same time as his robe shattered. "Are you very confident in your robe?" Jian Shisan asked sternly. Then, Jian Shisan clenched the illusory sword in his hand, his figure flashed, and in an instant, he appeared in front of Shi Feng and stabbed the long sword into the dragon lion real body. As for the black cloud of air that obstructed Sword 13 in midair, under the mincing of the sword chi around Sword 13's body, not the slightest bit of it remained. Pure sword energy. Pure sword energy. Shi Feng's huge dragon lion real body, which was almost 100 feet tall, became a little sluggish at this moment. The black clouds around him had all dissipated. At this time, Shi Feng's figure hurriedly retreated, and Hong Meng's aura suddenly rose, as if he was about to use the eternal power for the last time. "Don't be delusional. Your eternal power has been divided into instant fragments by me," Jian Shisan shouted coldly. Shi Feng's expression was sullen, and he didn't care that Jian Shisan had stabbed him with the sword. He roared, "That's impossible. You're just on the 5th level of Hong Meng Tianjing. How can you kill me? Why don't you try?" Sword 13 pulled out his sword, completely ignoring the blood that was gushing out. His entire body suddenly leaped, and actually stepped on the body of the dragon lion true body. The sword aura around his body was biting cold. This kind of oppressive force was actually even stronger than the suppression of the dragon clan's bloodline and the dragon pearl's essence. Another sword thrust in. "Now I finally understand how foolish it is to bet one's life on an external object," Jian Shisan said proudly. Hot blood gushed out as the long sword was pulled out. Blood splattered everywhere. "I know that I am unable to kill you. Your spirit is far too powerful. All I need to do is to find the dragon lion avatar that you have prepared and you will be able to revive. However, before that, I will let you have a good taste of suffering. Otherwise, I will have to flee if you revive too quickly. You don't want to leave the Longmeng polar region, right?" With a stern expression, Jian Shisan stabbed his sword into Shi Feng's body again. Watching this extremely dramatic scene from afar, Xiang Yan couldn't help but open his mouth wide. Bao Yang was dumbfounded. If this matter hadn't really happened, Bao Yang would never have imagined that Shi Feng, who originally had the upper hand, would be suppressed to such an extent by Jian Shisan in the blink of an eye. The huge dragon lion true body shrank a little each time Jian Shisan struck with his sword. Amidst the bloody wounds, Hong Meng's spiritual power was dissipating so fast that he couldn't react in time. Strictly speaking, the illusory sword in Jian Shisan's hand should be a spiritual body condensed from Jian Shisan's own sword energy. This spiritual body's attack could naturally ignore the deterrent power of the robe. At the same time, this spiritual body's sword aura was many times stronger than the sword aura that Jian Shisan had released with the long sword in his hand. Now that Shi Feng was suppressed to such a state by Jian Shisan, it wasn't because Jian Shisan was very strong, but because Shi Feng was too impatient. Originally, even with the bloodline suppression of the Dragon Ball's essence, Shi Feng could at least be in an invincible position against Jian Shisan with only 50% of his strength. However, Shi Feng couldn't bear the pressure that had always existed, so he forcefully activated his Hong Meng. He condensed his eternal power and forcibly broke the suppression of the Dragon Ball's essence. As a result, the operation of Hong Meng around Shi Feng was forced to stop. Next, if he wanted to defeat Jian Shisan, Shi Feng would have to fully activate his Hong Meng power, but in this way, Shifeng's body would be extremely weak. However, at that time, Shifeng was too confident in the robe on his body, so he had the confidence to go all out. And in this gamble, Shifeng didn't win. The draconic lion true body had shrunk to a size of 10 feet. Jian Shisan pulled out his long sword, looked at the draconic lion true body in front of him, and couldn't help but smile. Shifeng endured the pain and wanted to escape, but he found that the Hongmeng power around him had been completely sealed by the sword aura. Unless he self-destructed his body and let his soul escape, he could only wait for death. At this time, you still don't want to self-destruct? Jian Shisan said contemptuously, in that case, let me help you. The long sword in Jian Shisan's hand once again glowed with vitality, and the sword aura that seemed to be able to destroy heaven and earth surged on it. In the next moment, Jian Shisan's eyes glowed with a fierce light. Jian Shisan's body flashed and directly pierced the long sword into the draconic lion true body. Between the draconic lion true body's eyes. Woo! This time, the draconic lion true body lost the last bit of strength that could support it between heaven and earth. The miserable roar continued for a long time, and the sword aura wreaked havoc in the draconic lion true body's body. Suddenly, the draconic lion true body, which was originally powerful enough to shake heaven and earth, exploded. Jian Shisan retracted his strength and retreated quickly. There was no sword in his hand. The draconic lion true body exploded in mid-air. Boom! The black clouds gradually dissipated, and Jian Shisan looked at the faintly discernible soul in the black clouds that swept into the distance and shook his head helplessly. No matter how strong the sword aura was, it could at most injure Shifeng's soul a little, and slow down the speed of its recovery. However, with Jian Shisan's current strength, he couldn't cut down Shifeng's soul. Therefore, Jian Shisan could only let Shifeng's soul escape. However, Jian Shisan also knew the extent of Shifeng's soul's injuries. Even if Shifeng's soul found the draconic lion true body, it wouldn't be able to successfully shine with the vitality of the past in this period of time. It would take at least 20 years. And after 20 years, even if Shifeng could be revived, he probably wouldn't have his previous peak strength. In this battle, the Great Desolation Fortress was shattered, Shifeng's true body was slaughtered, 2 of Shifeng's deputy fort lords died, Lang Ming's cultivation was crippled, and the other 3 war generals removed the bloodline suppression curse on their bodies. When the black clouds dissipated, Jian Shisan also withdrew the sword aura around him. At this moment, Jian Shisan felt that the sky of Longming Polar region was much, much brighter. Chapter 1931. Heavenly Sun Mountain, Wooden House. Longchen sat cross-legged on the bed, some faint Hongmeng spirit energy circling around his body, occasionally being absorbed by Longchen, completing a large cycle of meridians. This kind of cultivation, since Longchen woke up, almost never stopped. After that battle, Longchen fell into a deep sleep. Jian Shisan used many methods, but could not wake Longchen up. Jian Shisan, on a whim, used the dragon ball he stripped from his sword to strengthen Longchen. When the majestic power of the Dragon clan's bloodline lingered around Longchen's meridians, the sleeping Longchen finally reacted. After waking up, Longchen's vital energy and blood were both damaged, and his meridians were damaged. He was almost unable to use even 10% of his peak Hongmeng power. In desperation, Longchen could only cultivate in Heavenly Sun Mountain, healing his injuries little by little. Jian Shisan comprehended the mystery of having no sword in his hand, but having a sword in his heart during that battle. His attainments in swordsmanship had reached a new level, and these days in Heavenly Sun Mountain, he was cultivating even more diligently than Longchen. Now, 5 days had passed since Longchen came out of the Dragon Fox clan's Forbidden Land, and the Forbidden Land was still quiet. Presumably, it would be a while before Ali came out. Suddenly, a fierce aura floated in from outside the wooden house. Then, the door of the wooden house was pushed open, and a resolute figure walked in with a smile. Longchen looked at Jian Shisan and felt very gratified. Jian Shisan had broken the bloodline suppression curse, solved the heart demon of Shifeng, and comprehended a deeper level of sword essence. He was much stronger than the Jianshi San Longchen had seen before. Much more. Master, I have some news that I think you will be interested in, Jianshi San said. Longchen calmed the power of Hongmeng around him and said, What news? Tell me. Jianshi San said, The first news is from behind our heavenly sun mountain. Longchen frowned and said, The Dragon Python clan? Jianshi San nodded and said, That's right. After nearly 50 years of hibernation, the Dragon Python clan has finally awakened. The Dragon Python clan's habit is also very impressive. They actually slept for 50 years. I wonder what they're going to do after waking up this time. Longchen said slowly. This is related to the second thing I want to talk about. Jianshi San continued, The second thing is more or less the reason why the Dragon Python clan has awakened. Longchen was puzzled. What's going on? What is the Dragon Python clan trying to do? Jianshi San said, Master, you're new to the Longmeng polar region, so naturally you don't know. The Dragon Python clan chose to awaken at this time because in 1 month, a concealment array in the zone of desolation will be activated. A concealment array in the zone of desolation? Longchen thought for a moment and said, You mean, the ancient battlefield where the 3 polar regions and the Longmeng polar region fought 100,000 years ago? Jianshi San said, Yes, it's that ancient battlefield. In a sense, this ancient battlefield and the small spiritual world were different methods of achieving the same result. However, in this ancient battlefield, it was said that there was an empty space piled up by piles of bones. Usually, it was protected by a large array that was set up 100,000 years ago. Even the masters of the 9th layer of the Hongmeng Tianjing could only enter from the south. Only every 60 years, this ancient battlefield array would be weakened by the Hongmeng reincarnation of heaven and earth, and the people around this ancient battlefield could enter. It is said that the ancient battlefield is full of the spiritual treasures of the human cultivators in the 3 polar regions. Every time the large array is activated, many unknown spiritual treasures will be revealed. Naturally, many people will be able to obtain them. Here we are. Master, do you still remember the robe on Shifeng's body that I told you about? It seems that this is what Shifeng obtained from the ancient battlefield. Jianshi San said in all seriousness. A robe that can make you suffer is naturally not a simple spiritual treasure. Longchen replied, Then, is there a qualification to enter this ancient battlefield? If we want to enter, will there be a chance? Jianshi San smiled and said, In the Longmeng polar region, strength is everything. Master, there's something I haven't told you. After that great battle, I, Jianshi San, became famous in the Longmeng polar region. Now, all the dragonkin demons are afraid of me. It's just an ancient battlefield. As long as I want to enter, who dares to stop me? Don't be too arrogant. Longchen sighed and said, You're making me, your master, very unhappy. Jianshi San smiled and said, Master, don't worry. When the ancient battlefield opens this time, we will definitely be able to occupy a place. Longchen nodded and said, Right, where did Xiangyan and Baoyang go? Will they be interested in the ancient battlefield this time? Jianshi San pondered for a moment and said, Baoyang returned to the Dragon Leopard clan. He seemed to have found a few good friends and smoothly joined the Dragon Leopard clan. The Dragon Leopard clan also didn't mock Baoyang for working for the Great Desolation Castle. Anyway, it's quite harmonious. As for Xiangyan, I'm not sure. It's said that he went to the Dragon Elephant clan and then left with his tail between his legs. As for what happened, I don't know. Longchen sighed and said, After all, he was kicked out of the Dragon Elephant clan. Now that he wants to return, even if he has the strength of the 5th layer of Hongmeng Tianjing, it won't be easy. Longchen stood up and said, How's the Great Desolation Castle? Have the spatial formations inside been destroyed? Sword 13 hurriedly shook his head and said, No, I wanted to destroy it, but who would have thought that I would be stopped by a group of human cultivators from the Pangmeng polar region? They said that if I destroyed these spatial formations, they wouldn't be able to return, so I had to wait for them to smoothly pass through the formations and return to the Pangmeng polar region before I could start destroying the formations. Longchen coldly snorted and said, "The Pangmeng polar region? Didn't you come here to hunt dragonkin demons? You really gave them face." Sword 13 spread out his hands and said, "I can't do anything about it as well. Those people are pestering me to no end. Moreover, the strength behind them isn't inferior to me in the slightest. Not to mention, the sincerity they brought out is tempting." Hearing this, Longchen laughed and said, "I knew you didn't have good intentions. Tell me about the benefits you received." Jian Shan said, "Nearly 20 high-grade Hongmeng elixirs were obtained by those human cultivators in the hinterland of the Longmeng polar region. These Hongmeng elixirs are full of spiritual energy and are not inferior to those in the small spiritual world." Longchen nodded and said, "Not bad, not bad. You've made some progress." Chapter 1932. Just as Longchen and Jian Shan were conversing in the wooden house, a faint fluctuation of Hongmeng's spiritual energy suddenly swept out from the top of the Heavenly Sun Mountain. Jian Shan, who had already condensed his Hongmeng sword aura, naturally sensed it immediately. He immediately frowned and said, "There's a situation." Longchen nodded, hurriedly pushed open the door, and his figure disappeared. The Heavenly Sun Mountain had already activated the Dragon Fox clan's protective array, and Longchen and Jian Shan were able to sense the Hongmeng spiritual energy. This meant that the strength of the people who had come was not to be underestimated. In the sky above the Heavenly Sun Mountain, two figures in dark red robes stood proudly. Vaguely, the fluctuations of Hongmeng emanating from their bodies seemed to want to devour the entire Heavenly Sun Mountain. "Dragon Fox Clan! Why haven't you come out to meet us?" The two figures in dark red robes shouted in a clear voice. Immediately, the entire Heavenly Sun Mountain was enveloped by the sound waves from their loud shouts. Longchen and Jian Shan stood in front of the wooden house, looking at the two figures in the air with solemn expressions. "Can you tell what realm they are at?" Longchen was slightly worried. Longchen's injuries had yet to fully recover. If the two people in the air were comparable to Shifeng in strength, Jian Shan alone would be difficult to deal with. Jian Shan shook his head and said, "They should be at the 5th layer of Hongmeng Tianjing. If we really fight, I can barely deal with them for a while, but I can't take care of the others." Longchen nodded and said, "Why did they come to the Heavenly Sun Mountain? Could it be that they are Shifeng's friends? Or Shifeng himself?" Jian Shan said, "The possibility is not high. In the 5 years I've been in the Great Desolation Castle, I've never heard of Shifeng making any friends. Furthermore, Shifeng's spirit has suffered such serious injuries, I'm afraid that he won't be able to achieve anything in the next 20 years. It can't be him." At this moment, the members of the Dragon Fox clan on the Heavenly Sun Mountain were also surprised by the two crimson-robed voices. They quickly gathered together. The patriarch of the Dragon Fox clan, Qing, had already come out of the forbidden area yesterday. He had probably obtained some of the true teachings of the Dragon Fox ancestor. His entire person had become somewhat spirited. The patriarch of the Dragon Fox clan leaped to his feet and looked at the two figures in dark red robes above the Heavenly Sun Mountain with a puzzled expression. "May I know who the two of you are?" "Humph." Upon hearing the patriarch's words, one of the figures snorted coldly. "Our Dragon Python clan has only been dormant for 50 years and has been cultivating on the Heavenly Sun Mountain. Can't your Dragon Fox clan recognize us?" Longchen heard these words clearly. The entire Heavenly Sun Mountain heard them clearly. These two dark red-robed figures were actually members of the Dragon Python clan that had just awakened. So it's the lord of the Dragon Python clan. The Dragon Fox clan is often bullied and humiliated, so I don't remember your name clearly. Please forgive me. The Dragon Fox clan leader quickly apologized. The two Dragon Pythons nodded. Fine, fine. I have important matters to discuss with you today. You are the patriarch of the Dragon Fox clan, right? The patriarch of the Dragon Fox clan leader's heart rippled as he hurriedly replied, Yes, I am. What is the matter? The dark red robed figure chuckled. A few days ago, two fellows killed the great Desolation Fort Master, Shifeng. They should be in your Dragon Fox clan right now, right? The patriarch of the Dragon Fox clan paused for a moment, not knowing how to answer. Call them out and tell them that our Dragon Python clan has business with them. The dark red-robed figure said in a clear voice. The patriarch of the Dragon Fox clan hesitated for a moment before saying, Lord, you may not know, but the two people you mentioned suffered serious injuries after that battle and are now in closed-door cultivation to recuperate. I'm afraid they won't be able to come out for a while. Tell me, and I'll pass on your message when they come out of closed-door cultivation. The dark red-robed figure snorted coldly. Closed-door cultivation? Let me tell you, if it weren't for the fact that they were able to kill Shifeng, they wouldn't have the qualifications to do so. Call them out quickly, or I'll smash you here. The yang-facing side of the Heavenly Sun Mountain will collapse and your Dragon Fox clan will have no place to go. This. The patriarch of the Dragon Fox clan looked down but didn't find any trace of Jianshi and Long Chen. Humph. The dark red-robed figure snorted coldly and swept directly toward the Heavenly Sun Mountain. The Dragon Fox clan's protective mountain formation was nothing under the suppression of the primordial chaos around these two people. Wait! Just as the two dragon pythons were about to completely destroy the mountain protecting array, a wisp of sword chi swept out and directly suppressed the Hongmeng's spiritual energy around the two dragon pythons. The two dragon foxes in dark red robes had no choice but to stop. Interesting. One of the dragon pythons smiled faintly and began to look around. Soon, the two dragon pythons fixed their eyes on a wooden house. Still not coming out? Do you really want the Dragon Fox clan to have no place to stay? The dark red-robed figure clamored. As the voice fell, the surroundings of the wooden house were silent. Not to mention sword chi, there wasn't even any Hongmeng spiritual energy. The two dark red-robed figures seemed to be somewhat angry and directly threw a punch at the wooden house. Majestic Hongmeng spiritual energy rolled over and directly bombarded the wooden house. This punch did not only seem to want to destroy the wooden hut, it seemed to want to pierce through the entire Heavenly Sun Mountain. Just as the majestic Hongmeng spiritual energy was about to bombard the wooden house, a sharp and austere sword chi spread out from the wooden house and directly collided with the Hongmeng spiritual energy. Boom! Even though it blocked most of the Hongmeng spiritual energy, the wooden house was still directly shattered by the impact. The entire Heavenly Sun Mountain seemed to sway for a moment. The dark red-robed figure smiled faintly and nodded. Not bad, not bad. You really do have some ability. No wonder you were able to kill Shifeng. After the wooden house shattered, Jianshi and Long Chen leaped into the air from the side of the wooden house. In an instant, they were suspended in the air, facing the two members of the Dragon Python clan. Is there something you need from me? Jianshi raised his brows and asked. The corners of the two dragon pythons' lips curled up slightly. You are Jianshi? Jianshi nodded. What is it? The two dragon pythons said, speaking of which, it's really not easy to meet Jianshi. Back then, Shifeng treated our dragon python clan with respect and reverence. It's really rare to see someone like you. If you have something to say, say it. If you don't, please leave the Heavenly Sun Mountain. Jianshi's expression was piercingly cold. The dragon python said, You must have heard that our dragon python clan is here to make a deal with you, Jianshi. Now that the ancient battlefield's array is about to open, Jianshi, I heard that your strength has improved, and even Shifeng is no match for you. You will certainly go to the ancient battlefield to investigate, right? Chapter 1933. Ancient Battlefield? Jianshi and Long Chen looked at each other, then turned to the Dragon Python and asked, What does the Dragon Python clan mean by this? The Dragon Python smiled and said, Jianshi, you haven't been to the ancient battlefield, so you're not very clear about the dangers there. Let me put it this way. The ancient battlefield's array has a strong suppression of the Dragon clan's bloodline. Ordinary experts above the fifth layer of Hongmeng Tianjing will be suppressed by nearly 40% of their strength after entering the ancient battlefield's array, making it difficult for them to exert their full strength. As for you, Jianshi San, according to the information obtained by the Dragon Python clan, you're a human from the polar region of Hongmeng, and you don't have a dragon in your body. Because of the Dragon clan's bloodline, you won't be suppressed by the ancient battlefield. After listening to this explanation, Jianshi San somewhat understood the Dragon Python clan's intention. So, you want to rope me in to join forces with the Dragon Python clan and show off our strength in the ancient battlefield? Jianshi San replied. The Dragon Python nodded and said, yes, Jianshi San alone, plus 5 Hongmeng Tianjing experts of the Dragon Python clan, after entering the ancient battlefield, will split the spiritual treasures and opportunities 50-50. Jianshi San smiled and said, 50-50? Then there's no room for discussion. Since you Dragon Pythons will be suppressed by the bloodline after entering the ancient battlefield, that is to say, I, Jianshi San, will have to bear the majority of the main damage. After the matter is done, we'll split it 50-50. Fine, it's really not worth it. The man in the dark red robe was not annoyed and said, then why don't you tell us how to split it? The Dragon Python clan is willing to send 5 Hongmeng Tianjing experts to help you. Jianshi San said sternly, this kind of trick is too low level. What you mean is that you want me, Jianshi San, to enter the ancient battlefield with you Dragon Pythons. Nominally, we'll split the spiritual treasures in half, but you'll send 5 Hongmeng Tianjing experts. Isn't it obvious that you want to kill me after the matter is done, and your Dragon Python clan will monopolize all the gains? As his words fell, the atmosphere above the heavenly sun mountain turned extremely awkward. As expected of an outsider, he still doesn't understand the rules of the Longmeng polar region. A dark red-robed demon had an icy cold expression as he said gloomily, do you know what the price of offending the Dragon Python clan of the 4 great demon clans is in this Longmeng polar region? As soon as he finished speaking, another Dragon Python continued, defeating Shifeng really gives you enough capital to be arrogant. However, don't pin your hopes on him too much. In the end, Shifeng is only one person, and the Hongmeng of our Dragon Python race. There are nearly 100 Firmament Realm experts. Say what you think. Only when you have no regrets can you draw your sword as quickly as possible. Longchen didn't have much of a reaction. He looked at Jianshi San with unswerving determination. Jianshi San nodded, looked at the 2 Dragon Pythons with bright eyes, and said, I, Jianshi San, do things this way. If I don't like to do something, no one can force me to do it. Join hands with your Dragon Python clan? Sorry, I'm not interested. If your Dragon Python clan has a grudge with me, Jianshi San, then you'd better not let me enter the ancient battlefield. Otherwise, when I enter the ancient battlefield, I'd rather go back empty-handed than let your Dragon Python clan not get a single thing inside. Jianshi San cultivated the sword, and what he cultivated was straightforwardness. Previously, when he was suppressed by Shifeng using the bloodline suppression curse, Jianshi San's temperament had become much stronger. Now that he had gotten rid of Shifeng, this great trouble, Jianshi San's sword heart had slowed down. The slow change had happened. Longchen really did not have a good opinion of the 2 members of the Dragon Python clan. Jianshi San's analysis just now was correct. Obviously, he had revealed the Dragon Python clan's plan. This was also the reason why the Dragon Python clan suddenly flew into a rage out of humiliation. At this time, Longchen was not in a position to speak. After all, his strength was there. Although he could suppress the 2 Dragon Pythons with the Sky Dragon bloodline in his body, it was ultimately no match for Jianshi San's sword. How dare you threaten our Dragon Python clan? The 2 dark red robes looked sullen, and said, do you really think that our Dragon Python clan has no way to kill you? The members of the Dragon Fox clan were extremely shocked when they saw this scene. If such a thing happened to their Dragon Fox clan, they would have bowed their heads and listened to their ears. But now, there was someone who dared to oppose the Dragon Python clan so directly. Clan? It should be known that the Dragon Python clan was one of the 4 major demon clans in the polar region of Long Yuan. When they seized the Heavenly Sun Mountain, the Dragon Fox clan could be said to have given it up. After all, the strength of the Dragon Python clan was too strong. "If you have the confidence to kill me, then go ahead and try," Jianshi San shouted coldly. As soon as his voice fell, the two dragon pythons could no longer hold back and immediately released the Hongmeng around their bodies. The rich Hongmeng force directly pressed out, causing the entire Heavenly Sun Mountain to tremble. "If it weren't for the fact that you still have some strength that can be used, my Dragon Python clan would have already implemented the rules of the Longmeng Polar Land and killed you, a human cultivator, here. Now that you have done something famous, you actually dare to do it in my Dragon Python clan. How dare you make such a fuss in front of us," the Dragon Python shouted. The tyrannical and strong Hongmeng force enveloped the entire area with the aura of the Dragon Fox clan. For a moment, some dragon foxes were unable to resist and began to circulate the Hongmeng in their bodies. Only then could they return to normal. Jianshi San was not affected by this pressure in the slightest. Looking at the two dark red figures in the air, a sword chi gathered in his hand, and an illusory longsword shot out from his heart. There was no sword in his hand. The two dragon pythons did not dare to show weakness. After releasing the Hongmeng force, they directly rushed toward Jianshi San. At the same time, their bodies glowed with layers of Hongmeng chi waves, as if the dragon pythons were strolling. They had a mysterious aura. It seemed that such a Hongmeng force was unique to the Dragon Python clan. Before Jianshi San could draw his sword, two dark red figures appeared on both sides of the Jianshi San shrine in the blink of an eye. In an instant, the two dragon pythons turned around and attacked Jianshi San almost simultaneously. Two powerful Hongmeng auras stabilized. Jianshi San was sandwiched between them. The illusory longsword in Jianshi San's hand was swung and reversed, directly releasing a powerful sword force. Then, the sword force scattered in all directions, and in the blink of an eye, it condensed together again, forming two even more powerful forces. With a few loud bangs, the sword force collided with the Hongmeng aura, and the two Hongmeng forces around Jianshi San were completely suppressed. "I originally thought that you were from the fifth layer of Hongmeng Tianjing, but I didn't expect that I overestimated you. Two pieces of trash from the fourth layer of Hongmeng Tianjing dare to clamor in front of me?" Jianshi San shouted with a grave expression. Chapter 1934. How dare you? After hearing Jianshi San's words and sensing the sharp sword chi that rose between heaven and earth, the two dragon pythons did not dare to act rashly even though they were enraged. After all, Jianshi San's sword chi was a great deterrent to them. Moreover, Jianshi San was right. The two of them only had the strength of the fourth layer of Hongmeng Tianjing. If they really fought with Jianshi San, they might not necessarily be a match for Jianshi San. Of course, if they wanted to run, Jianshi San would not be able to stop them. After all, the habitat of the Dragon Python clan was at the back of Heavenly Sun Mountain. At this time, Jianshi San increased the intensity of his sword chi and directly surrounded the two Dragon Python practitioners. The sharp and murderous sword chi rushed directly at them, and the two Dragon Python practitioners could not help but take a few steps back. Only then did they manage to get away from Jianshi San's sword chi. "Sure enough, a fierce person who can defeat your foe is really bold," the Dragon Python exclaimed. Jianshi San did not comment. He looked at Long Chen and said, "Master, these two are only at the fourth layer of Hongmeng Tianjing. Would you like to have a try?" Since Jianshi San was holding the line, Long Chen had no reason to refuse. Even if his injuries had not healed, it was still easy for him to stimulate the power of his heavenly dragon bloodline. Long Chen leaped up. "Two friends, since you've come to us, why don't you have a spar with us?" Long Chen said with a smile. The Dragon Python practitioner sized up Long Chen, as if he had sensed something, and said, "Hongmeng Yuan Jia?" Long Chen nodded and said, "That's right. Do you dare to spar with me?" The Dragon Python cultivator hesitated. Looking at the fierce eyes of the Jianshi San around him, he could not help but frown. The other dragon python cultivator seemed to be unable to suppress the anger in his heart. He immediately roared at Long Chen, "Then let's have a spar. Remember, you asked for it yourself. If word gets out, don't say that I'm bullying you." Long Chen snorted coldly and said, "You're bullying the weak. Remember what you said." Before Long Chen could finish speaking, the dragon python cultivator who had shouted at Long Chen suddenly leaped forward. Long Chen glanced at Jianshi San, and Jianshi San immediately withdrew the surrounding sword energy. There was no pressure between heaven and earth. A burst of black Hongmeng energy burst out around the dragon python cultivator. Suddenly, the dragon python cultivator directly revealed his dragon python true body. Layers upon layers of glossy black scales covered his body. The dragon python cultivator's body abruptly expanded to nearly 100 feet in size. A ferocious aura that resembled a roar was naturally released from his body. In just a few breaths, the originally dark red-robed cultivator had transformed into a dragon python true body that was more than 100 feet long. Jianshi San sighed and said, "Is the dragon python clan crazy? How much do they look down on me, Jianshi San? How could they send this kind of trash to negotiate with me?" Long Chen laughed twice. Sizzle! The dragon python true body released several fierce Hongmeng energies, and a turbulent black mass of air scattered in all directions. However, in the blink of an eye, the dragon python true body, with the support of the black mass of air around it, directly tore through space and pounced toward Long Chen, who looked indifferent. "In any case, you're a Hongmeng Tianjing 4th layer cultivator. You said that I should give you some face, but I guess you won't learn from your mistakes. If I don't give you face, you might give up on yourself and think that you can't even beat me, a Hongmeng Yuan Jia cultivator. It's too embarrassing. But based on your attitude just now, if I don't teach you a lesson, I think you won't know how high the sky is." After Long Chen finished speaking with a smile, the dragon python true body had already pounced in front of him. Red light flickered all over his body, and a pure aura of power spread out in all directions. The power of the heavenly dragon bloodline. The dragon python clan was innately fond of Yin, and with the dragon bloodline, they were the demonic beasts with the highest affinity for absorbing the dragon bloodline. However, this characteristic, which was originally a great advantage, had become the most fatal weakness in Long Chen's eyes. No matter how strong the dragon bloodline in your body is, can it compare to the real heavenly dragon bloodline? Moreover, after absorbing a part of the essence of the dragon pearl, the heavenly dragon bloodline in Long Chen's body had undergone a second sublimation. Therefore, the power of the heavenly dragon could now exert an oppressive force on the dragon-born demonic beasts, which was almost comparable to the oppressive force of the dragon pearl's essence on the dragon-born demonic beasts. When the dragon python true body had just pounced over, it was still in an indomitable posture, but when it was suppressed by the heavenly dragon bloodline released by Long Chen, its movement speed immediately slowed down. With this delay, the previous pounce of the dragon python cultivator was really like child's play in Long Chen's eyes. In the past, before Long Chen's heavenly dragon bloodline had undergone a second sublimation, he could already suppress the lion wind of Hongmeng Tianjing's 7th level to 70% of its strength. Now, Long Chen's heavenly dragon bloodline had undergone a second sublimation from the dragon pearl's essence. In addition, this time, Long Chen's opponent was only a dragon python of Hongmeng Tianjing's 4th level, and now the dragon python cultivator had even released the dragon python true body. The power of the dragon clan bloodline had become pure, so the suppression of the dragon clan bloodline on the dragon python true body was also greater. Long Chen estimated that the dragon python true body could only exert 30% of its strength after it had been healed. Moreover, with Long Chen's current strength, dealing with such a dragon python was really a piece of cake. Long Chen didn't even want to use any techniques. Gathering the pure condensed power of Hongmeng, Long Chen fiercely punched out. At the same time, his figure leaped up, easily avoiding the dragon python cultivator's pounce. At the same time, Long Chen punched out, directly bombarding the dragon python cultivator's body. The dragon python true body only felt a burst of pure Hongmeng Qi energy bombarding its back, followed by a straightforward retreating force. The pure Hongmeng Qi energy directly poured into the dragon python true body's meridians, immediately damaging or crippling the dragon python true body's meridians. The dragon python true body suddenly lost its balance and directly fell down, sweeping toward the ground of the heavenly sun mountain. How can there be such a powerful dragon clan bloodline? The other dragon python cultivator was dumbfounded. He didn't care about his companion, perhaps because he was currently being suppressed by Long Chen's heavenly dragon strength. When the dragon python true body fell to the ground, it immediately smashed a large hole in the original location of the wooden house. Long Chen frowned and said, "I'll go sleep at your dragon python clan's place tonight." Because he was afraid that his injuries would relapse, Long Chen hurriedly withdrew the heavenly dragon strength after exerting this short amount of strength. Then, he balanced the aura around his body and let out a long sigh. Long Chen once again looked at the other dragon python cultivator and smiled faintly. Chapter 1935. The dragon python cultivator's heart was like dead ashes. He had never imagined that this human from the Hongmeng Yuan Jia, who had suddenly appeared, would be able to strike down his clansmen so easily. At the same time, he couldn't understand why this human had such a powerful dragon bloodline. Bloodline? Long Chen looked at the panicked dragon python cultivator and said with a smile, "Do you want to scram by yourself, or do you want me to help you?" The dragon python cultivator didn't reply. Long Chen didn't hold back. He immediately condensed the Hongmeng energy and pushed it forward. This Hongmeng energy swept toward the dragon python cultivator in the air. At the same time, Long Chen once again released the power of the heavenly dragon bloodline in his body, which instantly strengthened the dragon python cultivator's surroundings. He couldn't move. Seeing that the Hongmeng energy was about to hit him, the dragon python cultivator's body in the next breath. All of a sudden, a pure Hongmeng spiritual energy flashed in the sky above the heavenly sun mountain. When it appeared, this Hongmeng spiritual energy collided with the Hongmeng energy released by Long Chen. The two forces collided in front of the dragon python cultivator, and the resulting Hongmeng energy waves allowed the dragon python cultivator to break free from the pressure of the heavenly dragon power released by Long Chen. Only then did the dragon python cultivator have a chance to catch his breath. He quickly rushed to the ground to investigate the situation of his clansmen. At the same time, along with the sudden appearance of the Hongmeng spiritual energy, a cold, gloomy voice spread across the heavenly sun mountain. In just 50 years, the humans of the Hongmeng polar region dare to act so arrogantly in the Longmeng polar region? When the dragon fox clansmen in the distance saw the sudden appearance of a black robe, they were all shocked. In the air, the dragon fox clan leader's heart trembled. He quickly reminded Long Chen, "It's the clan leader of the dragon python clan, Hongmeng Tianjing 8th layer." Hearing this, Long Chen's heart thumped. The patriarch of the dragon python clan, 8th stage Hongmeng Tianjing? Wouldn't he be even stronger than Lion Wind? Just like what Shifeng had said before, when one reached Hongmeng Tianjing, especially above the 5th level of Hongmeng Tianjing, the difference between each level was like a chasm. Every time one's strength increased, they had to put in a lot of effort. Jian Shisan was still calm. After all, he had defeated Shifeng before. Now that he was facing the patriarch of the dragon python clan, who was at the 8th stage of Hongmeng Tianjing, Jian Shisan vaguely felt that he could fight. If Long Chen knew about Jian Shisan's thoughts, he would probably call Jian Shisan master. Long Chen frowned and murmured, "Hongmeng Tianjing 8th layer. It seems that he's not easy to deal with." To be able to react so quickly and intercept his previous attack, perhaps the patriarch of the dragon python clan had been watching from the side from the beginning. The patriarch of the dragon python clan was dressed in a black robe, and the cloak covered most of his face. However, one could vaguely feel a gloomy and arrogant aura from it. Even so, from afar, it was daunting. Jian Shisan was able to defeat Shifeng mostly because of the bloodline suppression of the Dragon Pearl's essence. In addition, Shifeng was too anxious and cut off his own escape route. This was why Jian Shan was able to defeat him. And now, the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan was on the Heavenly Sun Mountain. Even if he had the strength to fight, he couldn't fight on the Heavenly Sun Mountain. Longchen still had some fragmented memories of the tragic situation near the Great Desolation Fort that day. On the front of the Heavenly Sun Mountain, the clansmen of the Dragon Fox clan became submissive after the patriarch appeared, as if they were afraid of his majesty. Perhaps this was because a few hundred years ago, when the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan led the Dragon Python clan to occupy the back of the Heavenly Sun Mountain, he had given the Dragon Fox clan too much of a deterrent. The Dragon Python practitioners rescued by the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan had already rescued their severely injured clansmen. Under the patriarch's signal, the two of them had already returned to the back of the Heavenly Sun Mountain. The patriarch of the Dragon Python clan did not overreact to the trembling eyes of the Dragon Fox clan on the Heavenly Sun Mountain. He slowly looked at Longchen, his expression full of surprise. At this time, the heavenly dragon's power released by Longchen had not dissipated. When the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan felt this power, he could not help but smile. This kind of smile made Longchen a little flustered. Obviously, the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan had come into contact with the heavenly dragon's power released by Longchen, but he did not have the slightest reaction. In this situation, there were only two possibilities. Either the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan did not have the bloodline of the Dragon clan in his body. This possibility was too low. Although Longchen was willing to think this way, this reason could not convince himself. After all, as the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan, he was undoubtedly a Dragon Python. Even if he was a Dragon Python, how could he not have the bloodline of the Dragon clan in his body? The other possibility was the one that Longchen was most unwilling to face, but it was indeed a valid reason. The bloodline of the Dragon Python clan and the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan was stronger than the bloodline of the Heavenly Dragon. Only in this way could the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan not change his expression after coming into contact with the bloodline of the Heavenly Dragon and not be affected in the slightest. The patriarch of the Dragon Python clan looked quietly at Longchen, his eyebrows faintly revealing a murderous intent. Longchen did not hide anything and openly looked at the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan in the eye. Under the cloak, the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan's deep and gloomy face made Longchen somewhat panic. Even Jian Shan, who was complacent at the beginning, trembled in his heart after taking a few glances at the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan. After a while, the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan turned to look at Jian Shan and said, "Are you the one who killed Shifeng?" Jian Shan did not deny and said, "That's right. Could it be that you are a friend of Shifeng and this time you are here to seek revenge for Shifeng?" Ha! The patriarch of the Dragon Python clan laughed and said gloomily, "If I were Shifeng's friend, no one in the Longmeng polar region would be able to touch the Great Desolation Fort. Shifeng actually did such a dirty thing under the eyes of my Dragon Python clan. Over the past few decades, my Dragon Python clan has hibernated. Otherwise, the Great Desolation Fort would not exist in the Longmeng polar region." Longchen said in a clear voice, "So, your purpose is really like what your two clansmen said before. You are here to rope us in to cooperate with your Dragon Python clan and enter the ancient battlefield to search for treasures, right?" The patriarch of the Dragon Python clan nodded and said, "That's right." Longchen was somewhat puzzled and said, "Isn't there a suppression of the dragon bloodline in the ancient battlefield? But the heavenly dragon bloodline that I used did not have any effect on you. I think the suppression of the bloodline in the ancient battlefield will not have any effect on you either. Why don't you go in person?" The patriarch of the Dragon Python clan smiled and said, "After all, you are still an outsider. The rule of the ancient battlefield has always been that practitioners above the 5th level of Hongmeng Tianjing are not allowed to enter. With my strength, I can't break the rule. Otherwise, the Dragon Elephant clan and the Dragon Lion clan will be unreasonable. In this way, the ancient battlefield will be in chaos." Chapter 1936. Longchen was a little surprised. He did not expect the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan to be such a law-abiding guy. Longchen twitched the corners of his mouth and said, "So, you mean to say that you want us to join hands with your Dragon Python clan and achieve something in the ancient battlefield?" The tribe leader of the Dragon Python tribe nodded and said, "That's right. Among the two of you, one does not have the Dragon tribe's bloodline in his body. Naturally, he will not be suppressed by the Dragon tribe's bloodline in the ancient battlefield. As for you, you possess an extremely high-grade Dragon tribe's bloodline. Since you have the bloodline of the Dragon clan, you should be able to come and go freely in the ancient battlefield. In other words, there are benefits to recruiting the two of you in advance. Are you so sure that we'll accept your request?" Jianshirsan said with a look of spiritual energy, "The ancient battlefield is a place with many spiritual treasures. Once the formation is activated, the whole Longmeng polar region will probably flock to it. The two of you were able to obtain the spiritual treasures in the ancient battlefield, but in the end, the benefits will go to your Dragon Python clan. Isn't this unreasonable?" The patriarch of the Dragon Python clan chuckled and said, "In the Longmeng polar region, the rules have always been like this. Those with a lower cultivation base can only obey the rules obediently when they meet those with a higher cultivation base." Longchen said with disdain, "Since you said so, why did you obey the rules of the ancient battlefield before? Why didn't you directly violate the rules of the ancient battlefield? Even if the Dragon Lion clan and the Dragon Elephant clan coveted the spiritual treasures, so what? With your strength, as long as you plunder all the spiritual treasures in the ancient battlefield and leave, what can the Dragon Elephant clan and the Dragon Lion clan do to you?" The patriarch of the Dragon Python clan shook his head and said, "What do you know? If it were only the Dragon Elephant clan and the Dragon Lion clan, why would I need to find you? The key is the Demon Phoenix, do you know? Forget it, forget it. You won't understand even if I tell you this. It's a waste of my breath. Tongue. You only need to answer me one question. Are you willing to make this deal or not?" Sword 13 shrugged and said, "To be honest, if we agree, then we must take the majority of the spirit treasures obtained in the ancient battlefield." "You're even bargaining?" The clan leader of the Dragon Python clan looked a little angry. He said, "Human, do you know that as long as I say the word, I can stop you from entering the ancient battlefield? At that time, not to mention the numerous spiritual treasures and opportunities, then two human beings from Hongmeng Polar region will be suppressed by all kinds of forces from Longmeng Polar region." As soon as he finished speaking, Jianshirsan and Longchen glanced at each other. For a moment, they felt a little troubled. In any case, this was indeed the Longmeng Polar region. Presumably, the dragonborn demon beasts in the Longmeng Polar region would not allow two Jianshirsan, Longchen, to enter their ancient battlefield. "If you agree to my conditions, I can guarantee that the two of you will have a chance to train in the Longmeng Polar region. Otherwise, after the ancient battlefield opens, don't try to sneak into it. I will lead our Dragon Python clan to fight in the ancient battlefield. I will lead the Dragon Python clan to guard the entrance day and night." The clan leader of the Dragon Python clan shouted. This was not the first time that Longchen had faced this kind of threat. However, with such a huge gap between their realms, Longchen really could not cope with it. The clan leader of the Dragon Python clan was in the 8th stage of Hongmeng Tianjing. Previously, when he dealt with Shifeng, who was in the 7th stage of Hongmeng Tianjing, to a large extent, he relied on the oppressive force produced by the essence of the Dragon Pearl. But now, the clan leader of the Dragon Python clan was not afraid of the oppressive force of the Dragon bloodline at all. Moreover, now that Longchen was injured, he was injured. Moreover, with injuries, it was truly difficult for Sword 13 alone to deal with him. Without waiting for Longchen and Jianshirsan to respond, an extremely strong aura of Hongmeng slowly condensed behind the clan leader of the Dragon Python clan. Faintly, the black robe of the clan leader of the Dragon Python clan turned into shiny black scales. His entire body transformed into a powerful force. Almost unknowingly, everyone in the Heavenly Sun Mountain had become under the control of the clan leader of the Dragon Python clan. The majestic and vigorous aura of Hongmeng surrounded the entire Heavenly Sun Mountain. For a moment, the heavens and earth trembled. Longchen frowned and slowly looked at Jianshur-san. Jianshur-san was a little relaxed and said casually, "Master, I think we can give it a try." Longchen shook his head and said, "You think too much. Even if you have the strength to fight, you can't fight with him here." "Why?" Jianshur-san asked, puzzled. Longchen let out a long sigh and said, "Let's not talk about whether or not the Dragon Fox clan will be affected if we fight. The Dragon Python clan's lair is at the back of the Heavenly Sun Mountain. If you have the chance to deal with the Dragon Python clan's patriarch and the other experts of the Dragon Python clan, then the other clan leaders of the Dragon Python clan can get here in about 10 breaths. They are endless. Can you deal with them?" As his voice fell, Jianshur-san paused. "Moreover, in my opinion, the current clan leader of the Dragon Python clan still has some secrets." Longchen's eyes were deep. Jianshur-san asked, "Secrets?" "He is an expert of the 8th stage of Hongmeng Tianjing. Does he need to keep us in suspense in front of us?" Longchen's face was cloudy and uncertain. He said, "We have to give it a try. We can't miss any possibility." After saying this, Longchen looked at the clan leader of the Dragon Python clan again and said loudly, "Your Excellency is also an expert of the 8th stage of Hongmeng Tianjing. Don't you think it's a little too disrespectful to deal with 2 weak human beings like us by using an illusion to confuse us? Do you really think I can't see through it?" Jianshur-san heard this and his mind gradually became turbulent. If Longchen was right, then the black-robed man in front of him was not the real body of the clan leader of the Dragon Python clan, but just an illusion? How could this be possible? How could an illusion be displayed, whether in terms of strength, aura, or the Hongmeng surrounding him? Jianshur-san was greatly puzzled. "I have to say that you really have a good eye. I thought that with your strength of Hongmeng Yuanjia, you wouldn't be able to recognize it anyway." "I didn't expect you to guess it," the clan leader of the Dragon Python clan said slowly at this time. In this way, Jianshur-san's puzzlement completely turned into surprise. This time, Longchen used action to tell Jianshur-san a truth. "Your master will always be your master. Do you really want me to take action? Even if I'm just an illusion now, it's still easy for me to deal with the 2 of you," the clan leader of the Dragon Python clan continued. Longchen looked dignified and said, "Of course I believe your words. However, we master and disciple have come to the Longmeng Polar region to gain experience and never make a losing deal. This time, if we obey your clan leader of the Dragon Python clan on this trip to the ancient battlefield, we will be restricted by you in all kinds of things in the future. In this way, maybe you will be the second Shifeng." Chapter 1937. Don't compare me with Shifeng. I don't know how to use that bloodline suppression curse, the Dragon Python patriarch said disdainfully. Longchen narrowed his eyes and said, "We are essentially the same. You want us to work hard for you, but in the end, we won't get any benefits. You're dreaming." The patriarch of the Dragon Python clan once again increased the surrounding Hongmeng aura. He sneered and said, "In that case, I really have to teach you a lesson. Young people won't go far if they don't suffer a little." Boom! An earth-shattering explosion sounded in Hongmeng. In the blink of an eye, the black robe disappeared and was replaced by a thick dragon python that was nearly 10 feet long. Around the dragon python, scales that contained a great amount of Hongmeng energy suddenly appeared. The scales contracted and gathered, releasing waves of fiendish power that almost tore the heavens and earth apart. Under the control of the dragon python, this fiendish power suddenly filled the air. It spread all around the world. Then, before anyone could react, the dragon python suddenly squirmed, and an extremely strong and violent murderous aura burst out from its body, directly bombarding Longchen. The murderous aura aroused layers of heat waves in midair, and the surrounding Hongmeng spiritual energy suddenly exploded and was immediately absorbed by the murderous aura. As the aura circulated, the basic wooden house on Heavenly Sun Mountain was immediately shattered by this mysterious bombardment. The Dragon Fox clan hurriedly moved toward the top of the mountain, fearing that they would encounter an accident. Looking at the aura that was about to bombard him, Longchen was still relatively calm. He immediately activated the brilliant sun and supplemented it with the heaven and earth fire dragon skill, successfully pushing the flame dragon phantom away. In the previous battle with Shifeng, Long Chen's origin Ice Soul and Ice Spirit Ghost Wolf bloodline had been completely destroyed by Shifeng. Although he was reluctant, Long Chen also sighed with emotion. If he didn't have these two treasures, he might not have been able to survive. The flame dragon phantom contained an extremely strong and violent force, directly bombarding the murderous aura released by the dragon python patriarch. Not bad, not bad. You do have some tricks up your sleeve. The dragon python in the distance sighed. Long Chen's expression was solemn. Even though he had heard the dragon python's words, he did not dare to be distracted. The rich and pure shadow of the flame dragon, together with the fierce aura of the brilliant sun, collided heavily with the seemingly casual attack of the dragon python patriarch. Bang! Long Chen's figure retreated nearly 200 feet before the killing force of Hong Meng's killing aura dissipated. The patriarch of the dragon python clan did not have much of a reaction. He casually dispersed the recoil force generated by the explosion with a playful look on his face. At this time, in mid-air, the sword force rose. Jianshi leaped up and directly faced the dragon python clan leader. An illusory longsword naturally appeared in his hand. The sword chi was biting cold. The sharp and terrifying aura directly pressed down from the sky. Some of the sword chi even slashed the body of the dragon python patriarch. The patriarch of the dragon python clan was displeased. He immediately swayed his body, and Hong Meng burst out from his body, directly sweeping away the sword chi that was not a small obstacle to him. Do you really want to die? The patriarch of the dragon python clan shouted angrily. Although the one facing Jianshi and Long Chen was not the real body of the patriarch of the dragon python clan, but an illusory phantom formed by the bones and blood of the real body, this phantom could still display some of the true strength of the patriarch of the dragon python clan. Perhaps this was the reason why the patriarch of the dragon python clan was not suppressed by the bloodline of the heavenly dragon. Jianshi's expression was biting cold. I think you know that Shifeng has suffered a great loss at my hands. As a matter of fact, your realm is stronger than Shifeng's, and this place is close to the habitat of your dragon python clan. I think you can summon several subordinates to help you fight at any time. However, since I can defeat Shifeng, I'm naturally not afraid of these people of your dragon python clan. Indeed, if your patriarch of the dragon python clan goes all out, I may not be able to defeat you. However, you have to be careful. At least before I'm completely killed by you, your dragon python clan will have to pay a great price. As soon as he finished speaking, Long Chen continued, the ancient battlefield will open in a while. If your dragon python clan suffers such an encounter at this juncture, then the dragon clan and the dragon elephant clan will benefit in vain. Or rather, even if there are other demon clans of dragon descent who can obtain some amazing spiritual treasures in the ancient battlefield, your dragon python clan may not be able to continue to have a status among the 4 great demon clans. After listening to these 2 sentences, the speed of the patriarch of the dragon python clan gradually slowed down, and the imposing manner of Hong Meng around him also gradually calmed down. As the patriarch of the dragon python clan, he was not too fearful of Jianshi and Long Chen. However, what Long Chen had said just now had struck a chord with the patriarch of the dragon python clan. The patriarch of the dragon python clan was not afraid of Jianshi and Long Chen. He was really a little afraid of the dragon python clan and the dragon clan. The reason why the dragon python clan moved to the heavenly sun mountain hundreds of years ago, and why the dragon python clan went into hibernation 50 years ago, was closely related to the dragon lion clan and the dragon elephant clan. Otherwise, the dragon python clan would not have allowed this huge desolation fort to be built not far from the heavenly sun mountain. In mid-air, Long Chen and Jianshi stared fixedly at the patriarch of the dragon python clan. Hong Meng around them was bitingly cold and bleak, and the long sword in Jianshi's hand was buzzing. The patriarch of the dragon python clan's huge body was constantly releasing fiendish chi, tightly enveloping the entire heavenly sun mountain. The dragon fox clan of the heavenly sun mountain was trembling. The patriarch of the Dragon Fox clan kept pleading, "You can fight if you want, but can you fight outside? I saw the tragic situation around the Great Desolation Fort with my own eyes." The three of them confronted each other in this way, and the atmosphere between them became more and more solemn. Time passed minute by minute. Finally, the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan restored his black robe, and the confrontation finally came to an end. The patriarch of the Dragon Python clan let out a long sigh and said slowly, as expected of the person who defeated Shurfong, "This kind of spirit is really rare." Seeing that the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan had already restrained the fiendish chi around him, Jianshur-san also gathered his sword power. The Heavenly Sun Mountain returned to tranquility once again. Longchen took a few deep breaths and quickly calmed the Hongmeng chi around him. Fortunately, it did not trigger his previous injuries. It's fine. We're just trying to uphold a principle. We're out to train and not provoke others. Both sides will be fine. If others provoke us, we won't let them live peacefully even if we have to risk our lives." Longchen said slowly. Chapter 1938. The patriarch of the Dragon Python clan sneered and said, "Since you are unwilling to make a deal with my Dragon Python clan, out of consideration for the situation, we will not bicker with you for the time being. However, if you have the ability, the two of you can continue to stay in the Heavenly Sun Mountain. It's best not to go to the ancient battlefield. Otherwise, we will have to pay a price to deal with you. To deal with these dragon foxes on the Heavenly Sun Mountain is a piece of cake for us dragon pythons." Longchen frowned and said, "The Dragon Fox clan is my friend, Longchen. If your Dragon Python clan acts like this, even if I can't go to the ancient battlefield, I will go to your Dragon Python clan and ask for an explanation." The Dragon Python patriarch smiled and said, "You can try. Didn't you say that you never provoke others? So, before the ancient battlefield opens, I won't find trouble with you. If we can't make a deal, then you've disgraced me today. If you disrespect me today, it won't be so easy for me to digest." Longchen faintly looked worried. The patriarch of the Dragon Python clan's words were really difficult for Longchen to deal with. It could even be said that it was somewhat troublesome. Previously, when he fought against Shurfong, it was only Shurfong. Now, he had become enemies with the Dragon Python clan, one of the 4 major demon clans in the Longmeng Polar region. Among them, there were estimated to be close to 100 Hongmeng Tianjing experts. With just Longchen and Jianshur-san, the master and disciple duo, they really couldn't deal with it. One last reminder, this ancient battlefield has always belonged to the dragon descendant demon clan in the Longmeng Polar region. If outsiders want to explore it, they should carefully consider their own strength. As soon as he finished speaking, the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan waved his hand. A black mass of air suddenly appeared around the black robe. As Hongmeng shook, the black robe suddenly disappeared in the sky above the Heavenly Sun Mountain. It came and went without a trace. This dragon python is really unreasonable. Jianshur-san looked at the place where the black robe disappeared and said angrily, anger flashing in his eyes. Longchen frowned and stood in midair. After a long time, when the aura of the Dragon Python clan leader had completely dissipated between heaven and earth, Longchen let out a sigh of disappointment and came back to his senses. With the current strength of the Dragon Fox clan, it would be impossible for them to deal with the Dragon Python clan. Moreover, Ali was still undergoing her bloodline awakening in the Forbidden Grounds. It would be difficult for her to deal with it for the time being. As for the ancient battlefield, Longchen and Jianshur-san would definitely go there. How troublesome. Now that things had come to this, Longchen had thought hard for a long time, but he really could not think of a better way to get through this ordeal. He really needed to have a good chat with the Dragon Python clan about the opening of the ancient battlefield array a month later. The sky was a little dark, and the endless lake was quietly surging with waves, moving forward layer by layer. It could be said that it was a beautiful day, albeit barely. Although there seemed to be nothing unusual in the depths of the lake, if someone released their mind power to investigate, they would definitely be able to catch a trace of Hongmeng power vaguely released from the bottom of the lake. This primordial energy was connected together as if someone had done it on purpose. Swoosh! Suddenly, there was a gust of wind above the lake, and the surging and ferocious aura of Hongmeng directly stirred up huge waves in the lake. In an instant, the Hongmeng power at the bottom of the lake suddenly expanded, as if it had been accumulating power for a long time. After a short boost, it suddenly pushed up. Bang! A huge wave broke out in the middle of the lake, and a huge figure whizzed out from the bottom of the lake. A dragon. The waves slowly fell on the surface of the lake, and when the ripples were about to disappear, a figure floated from the shore of the lake. It was a human with a firm figure. The dragon did not have the slightest intention of restraining his aura. He looked at the human figure, and his expression seemed to be unhappy. The human smiled at the dragon, and said, "I have good news." The dragon glared at the human and said angrily, "Long Yuan, are you asking for a beating again? I told you to cultivate well in the Longmeng Utopia, but you're only at the 4th level of the Hongmeng Heavenly Realm after 5 years. If your master finds out about this, he will definitely punish you. If your master knew, he would probably strip your demonic dragon bloodline." This human was Long Yuan, Long Chen's disciple. The dragon that leaped out from the bottom of the lake was naturally Long Mu. Hearing Long Mu's threatening words, Long Yuan was not angry at all, and he still had a smile on his face, and his expression was joyful. "What news? Can it make you so happy?" Long Mu was a little puzzled. Long Yuan floated above the lake, and the primordial chaos around him was extremely stable. He smiled and said, "A few days ago, when the Longmeng Grotto Heaven was operating, it received some primordial energy from the Longmeng Polar Ground. After activating this energy, I was able to reach the Tao. When I activated it, a trace of it is very likely to be Master's aura." As soon as his voice fell, Long Mu immediately became interested, and hurriedly said, "The Hongmeng force from the Dragon Meng Paradise? It's Long Chen's aura, have you checked it clearly?" Long Yuan nodded fiercely, and said, "It's definitely right. Others may not be familiar with it, but I know it clearly. Master has the Heavenly Dragon bloodline in his body, and the Hongmeng force contained the power of the Heavenly Dragon bloodline." Long Mu was a little surprised, and said, "It was transmitted from the Dragon Meng Polar region. The power of the Heavenly Dragon bloodline is indeed very likely." Long Yuan quickly waved his hand, and said, "How is it very likely?" "I think it must be Master. Although the two of us couldn't find Master's whereabouts after the star pool, don't you also believe that Master is definitely not dead? But it's only been 5 years. If Master recovers from his injuries, it's very likely that he will come to the Dragon Meng Polar region to look for us. I think it's very likely that it's Master." A surging Hongmeng aura radiated from Long Mu's body, and he instantly transformed into his human form. He nodded, and said, "If it's the Heavenly Dragon bloodline, then it's very likely that it's Long Chen. Then can we leave the Dragon Meng Paradise to look for Master?" Long Mu looked excited, and hurriedly said, "In the past, you always didn't let me leave the Dragon Meng Paradise. Now, since Master might be in the Dragon Meng Polar region, you can't stop me, right?" Long Mu sighed, and said, "Although that's the case, the Dragon Meng Paradise is floating above the Dragon Meng Polar region. Now, with just a trace of the Heavenly Dragon bloodline, we can't determine whether it's really Long Chen. Even if it's Long Chen, the Dragon Meng Polar region is so huge. Where are you going to find such a huge dragon bloodline?" Long Yuan was a little disappointed. Long Mu said decisively, "Forget it, there's still some news. We can't just let it go like this. Pack up, we're leaving the Dragon Meng Paradise." Chapter 1939. Under the strong insistence of Long Chen and Jianshi San, the seemingly intractable trouble on Heavenly Dragon Mountain finally ended with the withdrawal of the Dragon Python Patriarch. When the Dragon Python Patriarch's Hongmeng pressure completely dissipated between heaven and earth, the Dragon Fox clan on Heavenly Sun Mountain heaved a long sigh of relief. The Dragon Fox clan had a good understanding of the strength of their neighbor, the Dragon Python clan. For now, if the Dragon Python clan wanted to do something to the Dragon Fox clan, it was estimated that the Dragon Python Patriarch alone could wipe out the Dragon Fox clan on the Heavenly Sun Mountain within 2 hours. The reason why the Dragon Python clan did not take action was firstly because of the kindness of sharing Heavenly Sun Mountain with the Dragon Python clan. Secondly, the Dragon Python clan had to maintain the dignity of the 4 great demon clans. If they rashly attacked the Dragon Fox clan, they would inevitably be dealt with by the other 4 great demon clans in the future. Longchen knew very well that the Dragon Python Patriarch chose to withdraw today largely because the ancient battlefield was about to open, and he did not want to cause trouble for the Dragon Python clan at this time. Although the Dragon Python Patriarch was very confident in subduing Jianshi, he was also a meticulous person. If there was anything that could affect the outcome of this trip to the ancient battlefield, the Dragon Python Patriarch would eliminate it. Therefore, the Dragon Python Patriarch left behind ruthless words to let Longchen discuss whether they should go to the ancient battlefield. The Dragon Python clan was equivalent to an iron plate. With the current strength of Longchen and Jianshi, they could indeed tear off a piece of this iron plate with all their strength. However, the Dragon Fox clan behind Longchen did not have this strength. Under the pressure of that iron plate, no one in the Dragon Fox clan would be able to escape. Since he had promised Ali that he would protect the Dragon Fox clan before she came out, Longchen naturally could not go back on his words. After all, the Dragon Python clan was still afraid of the Longmeng Polar region. If they could contact the Dragon Lion, Dragon Elephant, or the mysterious people of Demon Phoenix, and let the Dragon Fox clan establish relations with these big clans, the matter would be easily resolved. Yes. However, it was difficult to get in touch with these big clans. Longchen could not help but feel a little disappointed. He raised his head and looked at the sky. He thought to himself, if Longmeng Grotto really floated above the Longmeng Polar region, would the Dragon Tomb and Dragon Abyss be there? If a true dragon were to appear in the world, the dragon-born demons in the Longmeng Polar region would probably not dare to disobey orders. However, the Dragon Meng Grotto heaven was illusory. Even the top human cultivators from Hongmeng thousands of years ago could not find it. As for Longchen, he only used a trace of the heavenly dragon bloodline to release a stream of qi into the sky. There wasn't much hope. Master, what should I do if the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan really keeps his word and attacks the Dragon Fox clan after we leave the Heavenly Sun Mountain? Jianshi asked with a frown, looking somewhat depressed. Longchen sighed and said, "How long is it before the ancient battlefield opens?" Jianshi said, "Not much, not little. At least 20 days. If the people of the 4 major demon clans can be more patient, it will be 30 days at most." 20 days. Longchen muttered, "At that time, Ali may be able to complete the bloodline awakening." Thinking of the time that the ancestor of the Dragon Fox clan had mentioned to him in the Forbidden Land, Longchen was still concerned. If Ali could awaken the Dragon Clan bloodline before the ancient battlefield opens and come out of the Forbidden Land, perhaps under Ali's leadership, the Dragon Fox clan could survive this calamity. If Ali was really like the Dragon Lake ancestor in the worst-case scenario, then it would take several months to complete the bloodline awakening. Then he would have to think of another way. With the strength of the Dragon Fox clan, they are no match for the Dragon Python clan. The Dragon Python clan only needs to send a few experts from Hongmeng Tianjing to destroy the Dragon Fox clan. However, I think the Dragon Python clan will not be too flamboyant. After all, the Dragon Clan is one of the 4 major demon clans in the Forbidden Land. The Python clan is one of the 4 great demon clans in the Longmeng Polar region. If the other 4 great demon clans find out about this, the Dragon Python clan will suffer a little. Longchen analyzed. Although this was Longchen's analysis, he was still a little worried. After all, Longchen still didn't know enough about the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan. Longchen also didn't know much about the other 4 major demon clans. "Master, didn't you say that the Dragon Fox clan has a Forbidden Land?" Perhaps, when the ancient battlefield opens, the Dragon Fox clan can all go to the Forbidden Land to hide. We can make plans after we return from the ancient battlefield. Jianshirsan suggested. Longchen nodded and said, this is a good idea, but it's not the right time. After all, the disaster of the Dragon Fox clan was caused by the two of us. No matter what, we must settle this matter and then make other plans. What's more, when the ancient battlefield ends, do you think that the two of us can stop the revenge of the Dragon Python clan? I think, instead of waiting for death here, it's better to take the initiative. When the ancient battlefield opens, we'll find an opportunity to let the Dragon Python clan become enemies with other demon clans, so that they won't have time to care about us. Jianshirsan let out a long breath and said, that's the only way. I hope the Dragon Python clan can have a little conscience. Longchen calmed his aura and said, however, isn't there good news for us as well? Jianshirsan was stunned and said, Master is right. Longchen smiled and said, didn't the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan say that the ancient battlefield has always been suppressed by the bloodline of the Dragon clan, but the two of us won't be affected by this kind of suppression? So, if we can really enter the ancient battlefield, those treasures inside won't it be easy to obtain them? Hearing this, Jianshirsan reacted and said, yes, I actually forgot about this. If that's the case, Master, the two of us may be rich. Longchen waved his hand and said, let's not think about this now. In this 1 month, I'll try my best to recover from all my injuries. You should also calm down your sword qi and make preparations. In a month's time, we must do something big in the ancient battlefield. Jianshirsan nodded and quickly descended towards the Heavenly Sun Mountain. After that, Longchen and the patriarch of the Dragon Fox clan had a talk and roughly explained the plan of the Dragon Python clan. However, Longchen also comforted the patriarch of the Dragon Fox clan and assured them of some things. Only then did the Dragon Fox clan settle down. After that, Longchen recovered from his injuries and adjusted his qi in the Heavenly Sun Mountain. He wanted to strive to raise his strength to the next level in a month's time. Even if it was the 6th stage of the Hongmeng Yuan Jia, it would be much stronger than it was now. Chapter 1940. Time flew by like flowing water, never to return. Nearly a month passed just like that. During this period of time, there was both good news and bad news for Longchen. The good news was that Longchen had successfully advanced to the 6th level of Hongmeng Yuan Jia. He had also persuaded the Dragon Fox clan to go to the Forbidden Land to avoid the revenge of the Dragon Python clan. The bad news was that after the Dragon Fox clan entered the Forbidden Land, they received news that Ali's bloodline awakening would take a longer time. It was estimated that she would not be able to complete it in a few months. Longchen could not help but worry, but there was nothing he could do. After all, this was a matter of the Dragon Fox clan. Longchen wanted to do something, but he could not. At the same time, over the past month, the atmosphere in the Longmeng polar region had gradually become hot and dry. The entire region where the dragonborn demons lived was filled with the smell of gunpowder, as if gunpowder had been ignited. This situation was naturally because of the thing that everyone yearned for: the ancient battlefield. For now, if someone were to mention the three of them in the territory of the dragon demon race, they would definitely speak freely about them. Some of the older members of the demon clan would even talk about the people who had obtained the spiritual treasures in the ancient battlefield, and their strength had soared to the heavens. Once this story spread, the atmosphere in the Longmeng polar region became even more feverish. Many forces in the zone of desolation stopped fighting. For the time being, they put aside the emotions of seeing their enemies. One by one, they rushed to the edge of the ancient battlefield, quietly waiting for the array around the ancient battlefield to weaken again. The ancient battlefield was the battlefield between the three polar regions and the Longmeng polar region 100,000 years ago. At that time, the weakest of the two sides was Hongmeng Tianjing 5th level. Therefore, the spiritual treasures carried by those people were naturally not ordinary goods. For example, Shi Feng's robe was able to block Jianshirsan's sword qi. Even now, Jianshirsan, who was able to use his sword chi to pierce through the robe, could not help but praise the robe. After obtaining a numinous treasure, even if one did not use it, the price of the numinous treasure would still be quite reasonable. Many people thought that even if they could obtain the most worthless soul treasure, it would still be able to improve their strength a little. In the future, when they faced their enemies, they would have an extra trump card. Therefore, the opening of the ancient battlefield once every 60 years would naturally become a grand event in the Long Meng polar region every 60 years. Be it the dragon-descendant demons, ordinary demons, or even humans, they were all preparing to enter the ancient battlefield. The current Heavenly Sun Mountain had become particularly quiet after the Dragon Fox clan had all fled to the Forbidden Area to hide. Long Chen was still consolidating his 6th-level Hongmeng Tianjing realm and gradually strengthening his Hongmeng Yuan Jie. At the same time, he was also tempering the power of the Heavenly Dragon bloodline in his body in order to be able to use it after entering the ancient battlefield. The power of the Heavenly Dragon bloodline was going to do something big. Jian Shan arrived on his sword and quietly waited beside Long Chen. Not long after, Long Chen opened his eyes and looked at Jian Shan. He asked calmly, "How's the situation outside?" Jian Shan said, "The ancient battlefield's formation has been weakened to the extent that it was last opened. It is estimated that we will be able to enter the ancient battlefield in at most one day. Some impatient dragon-descendant demons have already used secret techniques to enter. However, due to the formation's after going in, he must have suffered quite a bit of injuries." Long Chen nodded. "Let's go too. I'm afraid that there won't be much to gain from the ancient battlefield if we are late." Jian Shan chuckled. "Master, what are you talking about? The ancient battlefield opens once every 60 years. It has been 100,000 years since the Great Battle, and the ancient battlefield has opened nearly 2,000 times. According to the estimates of some older demons, the ancient battlefield still has half of the treasures in it. There are still nearly half of the spirit treasures left, so you don't have to worry about this." Long Chen was somewhat emotional. It seems that the great battle 100,000 years ago was much more powerful than I imagined. All right, let's not talk about it anymore. Let's go." Jian Shan responded. Soon, a Hongmeng aura floated around them. Long Chen leaped into the air while Jian Shan rose on his sword. The two left the Heavenly Sun Mountain in the blink of an eye. The ancient battlefield's location had never changed. It was in an endless mountain range near the Pangmeng polar region, where the great battle 100,000 years ago took place. The mountain range was about 1,000 miles in radius. Because of the ancient battlefield's formation, the mountain range was usually shrouded in clouds and mist all year round. It was impossible to see what was inside from the outside. Moreover, there was always a suppressive force related to the Dragon Clan's bloodline in the surroundings of the ancient battlefield. As long as a dragon-descendant demon approached this place, the Hongmeng surrounding them would be violently suppressed. If the ancient battlefield's formation was not weakened to the extent that it could be opened, even the Hongmeng heavens would not dare to enter. Even 9th-level realm experts did not dare to rashly head over. After all, this ancient battlefield once had the mark left behind by the primordial chaos ancestor. Many years ago, because there were too many spiritual treasure opportunities in the ancient battlefield, every time it opened, it was bound to trigger a chaotic battle between the various demon clans in the Long Meng polar region. Every time it opened, there would be heavy casualties. Later on, the 4 great demon clans in the Long Meng polar region joined forces. They set the rule that no one was allowed to fight in the ancient battlefield. They also added a rule that no one above the 5th layer of the Hongmeng Tianjing could enter. Only then did the Long Meng polar region stabilize. Now, there were nearly 1,000 people surrounding the ancient battlefield. Their gazes were all fixed on the ancient battlefield that was shrouded in clouds and mist. Normally, the dragon-descendant demon clans with the Dragon Clan's bloodline would not dare to approach the ancient battlefield because the bloodline suppression in the ancient battlefield was too strong. As for the demon clans without the Dragon Clan's bloodline or those who came from the Pangmeng polar region, the humans who came from the Long Meng polar region would be eroded by the fiendish power, making it difficult for them to fight. Now, due to the weakening of the ancient battlefield's formation, the Dragon Clan's bloodline power had been greatly reduced. The suppression on the Dragon Descendant demon clans had reached a level that many people could accept. Even the corrosive power had decreased a lot. As a result, more and more people gathered. Chapter 1941. In the air, figures flashed by one after another and landed at the edge of the mountain range. Looking from the sky, the mountain range where the ancient battlefield was located was densely packed with figures that looked like ants gathered together. Among the sea of people, most of them were from the Zone of Desolation. Everyone who lived in the Zone of Desolation more or less had a bad aura. When they gathered here, it was inevitable that they would flatter each other. Why is the formation still like this? It hasn't changed at all from yesterday. Among the densely packed figures, someone stood at the edge of the ancient battlefield and cursed endlessly. Soon, someone responded, "If you can't wait, you can go in now. It's just a matter of fighting with half of your life." Didn't someone use a secret skill to force his way into the ancient battlefield yesterday? Hearing this, the expression of the person who spoke first immediately became a little dispirited. Perhaps the word half-life in the reply was too hurtful. After thinking for a long time, he finally weakly replied, "I don't have such great ability. This time around, the ancient battlefield has opened. I reckon that those who can make it to the center of the ancient battlefield are the demon clan of the Dragon Descendant. People like us who live in the Zone of Desolation can only fish in troubled waters. That's not right. The last time the ancient battlefield opened, didn't a guy who lived in the Zone of Desolation make it to the center of the ancient battlefield and get a robe? With this robe, he could leave the Desolation region directly. The Zone of Desolation actually dared to build a great desolation fort in the habitat of the demon clan of the Dragon Descendant. I think this is purely a coincidence. Didn't news come some time ago that the great desolation fort had been razed to the ground? It seems that the robe is nothing more than that. Speaking of this, there's something strange. It's said that the person who slaughtered the Great Desolation Fort was of a lower realm than the Fort Master. It's said that the person who slaughtered the Great Desolation Fort was of a higher realm than him. Really? No matter what, that robe was obtained from the center of the ancient battlefield. With this robe in hand, how could he be killed by someone of a lower realm than him? That's what the rumors say. We have to find out more about the situation. In short, the competition on the ancient battlefield this time is going to be more intense. Long Chen and Jian Shan chose an entrance to the ancient battlefield that was not crowded. Although it was called an entrance, it was more like a valley. However, on the other side of the valley, there were dense clouds, and it was impossible to see anything from the outside. Long Chen could not help but frown when he sensed the vague pressure in the air. He said, "I never thought that the dragon bloodline in the ancient battlefield would be able to oppress me. Although it's very faint, I've come to the center of the ancient battlefield. The pressure will be even greater." Jian Shan's expression was solemn as he said, "Master, let's not talk about you. Even I am a little restricted. Why is there such an invading force here? If this force exists, the speed of my sword attacks will be much slower." Both of them felt somewhat helpless. Long Chen looked around and said slowly, "We still don't know what the ancient battlefield is like. It seems that we have to ask around first." Jian Shan nodded and said, "I don't think that's necessary. In the Longming Polar region, many people have not entered the ancient battlefield. It is said that even if the ancient battlefield's formation is weakened, there is still a lingering pressure that cannot be removed. Therefore, most people will search around the periphery of the ancient battlefield and quickly escape before the formation of the ancient battlefield returns. As for the center of the ancient battlefield, I think that those who have been there will not reveal anything." After listening to this analysis, Long Chen expressed his agreement and said, "What you said makes sense. Then let's wait here. When the formation is truly activated, we will directly enter." While the two of them were waiting, they saw many demon clans of the dragon bloodline leading the way. The Dragon Lion clan, the Dragon Elephant clan, and the mysterious people of Demon Phoenix had all arrived. Of the 4 great demon clans, only the Dragon Python clan had not arrived. Long Chen recalled that the Dragon Python clan leader had said that the ancient battlefield did not allow people above the 5th floor of the Hongmeng Tianjing to enter. In other words, there would definitely be people who would come to enforce this rule. If that was the case, the ancient battlefield would not be too chaotic. As expected of the 4 great demon clans, Jian Shan could not help but sigh as he looked at the Dragon Lion clan, Dragon Elephant clan, and the Hongmeng clan's imposing manner. Long Chen suddenly thought of something and hurriedly asked, "Have you seen Xiang Yan and Bao Yan?" Jian Shan shook his head and said, "I have been looking for them for a long time, but I really haven't seen them." Long Chen had no choice but to give up. If he could find these 2 people, he would have an extra helping hand. Suddenly, just as Long Chen and Jian Shan were waiting, on the other side of the ancient battlefield, layers of Hongmeng's imposing manner suddenly rolled out. This imposing manner covered the sky and the earth, and for a moment, the people around the ancient battlefield mountain range were all attracted by it. Everyone looked over. Uniformed dark red robes stood proudly in the air. At first glance, Long Chen figured out the origin of these people. The Dragon Python clan. As one of the 4 great demon clans, the Dragon Python clan naturally would not be absent from the ancient battlefield, which was a grand event held once every 60 years. Moreover, as early as a month ago, the Dragon Python clan had personally looked for Long Chen to discuss cooperation. If he had known that the Dragon Python clan's behavior would be so abhorrent, Long Chen would not have shown himself at the Heavenly Sun Mountain. Otherwise, the Dragon Fox clan would have also sent people to the ancient battlefield to try their luck. Perhaps the people of the Dragon Fox clan could have obtained some opportunities here, which could strengthen the Dragon Fox clan. Now, the Dragon Fox clan was forced to hide in the Forbidden Land. At present, it could be considered a good thing, but in the long run, this method was really too stupid. I don't know if the Dragon Python clan leader will come. He said that with the strength of the 8th layer of Hongmeng Tianjing, he can't enter the ancient battlefield, Jian Shan said thoughtfully. Long Chen smiled slightly and said, "Maybe. The 4 great demon clans have to have someone come out to maintain order. If the Dragon Python clan leader really comes, we just have to try our best to avoid him. The ancient battlefield is so big, how can we be cornered by him? If he comes, I hope it will be different from the last time. This time, he must come with his real body." The last time, the illusory shadow was really boring, Jian Shan said with a smile. Long Chen nodded and said, "We just have to be careful. If we don't provoke others, they can't provoke us. We are not easy to bully." Jian Shan laughed. Chapter 1942. A black figure stood proudly in the dark red robe, emitting a strong Hongmeng aura. It was undoubtedly the Dragon Python clan leader. Shi Feng was able to build a great desolation castle for dirty deals in the gathering place of the Dragon Descendants Demon Clan in the Longmeng Polar region with his strength of the 7th layer of Hongmeng Tianjing. The Dragon Python clan leader was a genuine 8th layer of Hongmeng Tianjing. Long Chen was naturally aware of all kinds of powers. Back in the Heavenly Sun Mountain, the Dragon Python clan leader had forced Long Chen and Jian Shan to the extreme with just a shadow. If the Dragon Python clan leader showed his true body, Long Chen really did not dare to think about how oppressive it would be. The appearance of the other 3 demon clans did not have the same posture as the Dragon Python clan. Surrounded by the group of dark red figures, the Dragon Python clan leader continuously emitted a strong primordial chi aura, as if he was maintaining some kind of great formation. It was like a whirlpool. The Dragon Python clan was one of the 4 major demon clans in the Longmeng Polar region. The dark red robe slowly descended. Suddenly, one of the black robes dashed out from the large group. In less than 2 breaths, the black robe came to Long Chen's side. The Dragon Python clan leader looked at Long Chen and Jian Shan and said with a playful smile, "I didn't expect the 2 of you to really dare to come." The demon clans around the ancient battlefield immediately looked at Long Chen and Jian Shan. Facing the gazes of the crowd, Longchen remained calm. Looking at the Dragon Python clan leader in front of him, he frowned slightly and said, "Of course we have to come. Since we have come to the Longmeng polar region, we must meet. This ancient battlefield opens. We can't just watch from the side, right?" The patriarch of the Dragon Python tribe snorted coldly and said, "When we enter the ancient battlefield later, you two had better just wander around the periphery. If I see you two in the central area, be careful that you won't be able to bear the consequences." Jianshirsan looked displeased. He took a step forward and said sternly, "Then we will wait in the center. When the time comes, I want to see if my sword or your Hongmeng Qi is faster." When the Dragon Python patriarch heard this, his expression changed slightly, as if he was a little flustered. He hurriedly said, "I have other things to do, so I won't waste my time here with you two humans. Remember what I said, be careful." Hongmeng's aura was released from the clan leader of the Dragon Python clan as soon as he finished speaking. Then, he left Longchen's side in the blink of an eye. After the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan left, Jianshirsan was still indignant in the direction where the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan had left. Longchen seemed to have thought of something important. He hurriedly said, 13, did you sense it just now? The current patriarch of the Dragon Python clan is still an illusion. Upon hearing this, Jianshirsan frowned and said, "It can't be. This is not the Heavenly Sun Mountain. Why would the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan meet people as an illusion? I didn't think in this direction just now." "Master, did you see it clearly?" Longchen nodded and said, "It can't be wrong. The patriarch of the Dragon Python clan is indeed an illusion. Moreover, the aura around him seems to have weakened a lot compared to when he was at the Heavenly Sun Mountain. It doesn't make sense that the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan has been here for a month." Jianshirsan was somewhat puzzled. Longchen pondered for a long time and said, "Do you still remember that the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan told us not to go to the center of the ancient battlefield? Otherwise, he will make us suffer." Jianshirsan snorted coldly and said, "Why can't we go? Moreover, the ancient battlefield is suppressed by the bloodline of the Dragon clan." At this point, Jianshirsan had a flash of inspiration and suddenly understood. Didn't they say that people above the 5th level of the Hongmeng Tianjing can't enter the ancient battlefield? Jianshirsan said in horror. Longchen nodded and said, "That's what I mean. Why did the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan meet people as an illusion today? Why did he warn us not to go to the center of the ancient battlefield? Also, why did the aura of the Hongmeng around him weaken? And why did he vaguely reveal that he would appear in the center of the ancient battlefield?" Jianshirsan thought carefully and could not help but let his imagination run wild. "I think that the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan has used some kind of secret technique that can suppress his strength to the 5th level of the Hongmeng Tianjing. Then, he can appear as an illusion so that no one can understand the mystery behind it. After going to the ancient battlefield, the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan can do whatever he wants. You can do whatever you want there." Longchen analyzed. Jianshirsan was dumbfounded when he heard this. Could there be such a method? Jianshirsan looked in the direction of the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan and murmured, "Master, if it's really like what you guessed, do you think we should go and inform the other 3 demon clans?" Longchen shook his head and said, "It's no use. Since the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan dares to do this, he must have made full preparations. When the time comes, if we go and make a scene, it will not be long before the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan has a reason to kill us. No matter what, when we enter the ancient battlefield, we'll just take one step at a time. If we really meet the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan, we can just avoid him." All right. Sword 13 let out a long sigh and was slightly helpless. In midair, there were 3 figures standing proudly in front of the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan. The 3 of them were releasing the powerful aura of the Hongmeng Tianjing. They looked at the ancient battlefield in the distance, and there was a sense of steadiness between their eyebrows. "Old Python, for such a big event, why did you show up as an illusion? Could it be that your Dragon Python clan has given up on the ancient battlefield this time? A burly, dark-faced man said with a smile. The patriarch of the Dragon Python clan smiled at the dark-faced man and said, "Xiang Bai, don't be so sarcastic. My Dragon Python clan has been dormant for 50 years. I think you've been thinking about me a lot. The opening of the ancient battlefield is naturally a big event, but we can't go in. This time, I'm only here to escort the younger generation of my clan. Why do I need a real body? Don't tell me that with your strength, you can't deal with those who want to take advantage of the situation? Well, since you've started this, if we all show up as illusions in the future, and those who have ulterior motives for the ancient battlefield know about it, there might be some trouble." At this time, a middle-aged man next to Xiang Bai said with a sharp expression. The perceptive middle-aged man said slowly. Hearing this, the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan hurriedly said with an apologetic expression, "Thanks to Lord Nine Nether's teachings, I will definitely pay attention next time." The man whom the Dragon Python addressed as Lord Nine Nether was the patriarch of the people of Demon Phoenix. The patriarch of the Demon Phoenix clan nodded. He turned to look at another man with a bold appearance and asked, "Approximately how much longer do we have?" This man was the patriarch of the Dragon Lion clan, one of the 4 great demon clans. The patriarch of the Dragon Lion clan was also very respectful to the patriarch of the Demon Phoenix clan. He replied slowly, "I estimate that the ancient battlefield's array will be completely open in 2 hours at most." Chapter 1943. Upon hearing the Dragon Lion Patriarch's reply, the Nine Nether Demonic Phoenix Patriarch nodded and said, "If that's the case, let's do what we did last time. The 4 demonic clans will lead a direction to investigate those above the 5th level of the Hongmeng Firmament Realm and drive them out. When the ancient battlefield opens and the juniors of our clans have all entered, we'll come back to gather." The other 3 demon clan patriarchs nodded one after another, not daring to disobey. The clan leader of the Nine Nether Demonic Phoenix was somewhat satisfied when she saw the reaction of the other 3. She slowly said, "Just like the previous time, it's fine as long as there isn't any trouble. Let's not damage the harmony between the 4 great demon tribes because of some things." Soon, the Demon Phoenix Patriarch led the group of Demon Phoenix clansmen behind him toward the ancient battlefield. The Dragon Lion Patriarch followed closely behind, heading in the opposite direction. Behind him was a group of Dragon Lion clansmen. The Dragon Python Patriarch and the Dragon Elephant Patriarch smiled at each other and headed toward the mountain range where the ancient battlefield was located. In mid-air, the Patriarch of the Dragon Elephant clan, who was called Xiang Bai, looked at the cultivators below who were waiting for the opening of the ancient battlefield and asked the Patriarch of the Dragon Python clan, "Old Python, I saw that you seem to be involved with 2 human cultivators. So?" The Dragon Python Patriarch snorted coldly and said, "They're just 2 ignorant fellows. It's not a big deal. I've already ordered my clansmen to make them suffer after they enter the ancient battlefield." Xiang Bai chuckled and said, "Old Python, you really live up to your style. You haven't forgotten your ability to haggle over every detail even after 50 years of hibernation. It seems that those 2 human clan practitioners are unlucky." The Patriarch of the Dragon Python clan smiled and said, "Speaking of which, are the people that your Dragonesque Elephant clan sent to the ancient battlefield ready?" Xiang Bai sighed and said, "You should also know that our dragonborn demon race will definitely suffer bloodline suppression after entering the ancient battlefield. Our Dragonesque Elephant race doesn't have much hope for the ancient battlefield. We'll only be able to obtain a few mediocre soul treasures from there. Well, let's go through the formalities." Hearing this, the eyes of the Dragon Python Patriarch became somewhat deep. He said slowly, "Let's split up ahead. This time, our Dragon Python clan has chosen this side." Xiang Bai nodded and led the members of the Dracophant clan away from the Patriarch of the Dracophant clan. The direction chosen by the Patriarch of the Dragon Python clan was exactly where Long Chen and Jian Shan were. The members of the 4 major demon clans occupied the 4 corners of the battlefield. The clan leaders began to pick out the people above the 5th level of Hongmeng Tianjing from the crowd and directly drove them out of the vicinity of the ancient battlefield with their strength. According to the rules set by the 4 great demon clans, no one above the 5th level of Hongmeng Tianjing was allowed to enter the ancient battlefield. When the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan came to Long Chen's side again, Long Chen was somewhat calm. After all, if Long Chen's guess was right, it meant that Long Chen now had something on the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan. Without waiting for the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan to speak, Long Chen took the lead and asked, "Since you appeared as an illusion, one of the Dragon Python practitioners behind you must be your real body, right?" The patriarch of the Dragon Python clan was aghast. He hurriedly said, "Humph, so what if you know? Remember what I told you. After entering the ancient battlefield, you'd better not go to the central area. Otherwise, you'll definitely die." After saying this, the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan soared into the sky and left. Long Chen was also shocked. He did not expect the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan to admit this matter without even refuting. It seemed that the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan was not afraid of the other 3 major demon clans knowing this secret. Of course, he would have an excuse. The patriarch of the Dragon Python clan floated in the area closest to the ancient battlefield. The other demon clans did not have any objections to this. Jian Shisan's expression was solemn. He looked at the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan in front of him and said slowly, "Master, if we really meet the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan in the central area, and if he doesn't feel the pressure there, I may not be his opponent." Long Chen nodded and said, "It's okay. After the ancient battlefield opens, it will be extremely chaotic. When we enter the central area, we can't say who will attack who first." Jian Shisan was slightly shocked and said, "Master, don't tell me you want to strike first to gain the upper hand?" Long Chen smiled and said, "Don't tell me we're going to be passive all the time? It's time to take the initiative and let the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan see our means." Long Chen was not exaggerating. After absorbing the power of the dragon bloodline and the essence of the dragon pearl, Long Chen's own heavenly dragon bloodline had reached an extremely strong suppressive force. When he faced the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan a month ago, Long Chen could not operate the heavenly dragon bloodline to the maximum because of his internal injuries. But now, Long Chen, whose strength had reached the 6th level of the Hongmeng Yuan Jia, was completely confident that he could operate the power of the heavenly dragon to the maximum. At that time, even if this ancient battlefield was not a match for the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan, the suppression of the Dragon clan's bloodline would not work on the Dragon Python clan's patriarch, but Long Chen's heavenly dragon's bloodline power would be added to him. Hearing this, Jian Shisan laughed heartily and said, "Master, then I won't give them face." Long Chen waved his hand and said, "They don't deserve it." As time went by, the suppressive force of the dragon bloodline around the ancient battlefield became thinner and thinner. Long Chen looked at the increasingly excited people and naturally knew that the ancient battlefield was about to open. At this time, almost everyone gathered around the ancient battlefield and discussed the matters of the ancient battlefield with a buzzing sound. Rumble. Suddenly, an earth-shattering explosion of Hongmeng came from the mountain range where the ancient battlefield was located. Then, without waiting for the crowd to cheer, a red light shot up to the sky from the middle of the ancient battlefield mountain range. The surrounding Hongmeng began to fluctuate faintly. The ground also began to tremble, as if it was cracking. Under the illumination of the red light, the ancient battlefield mountain range, which was originally covered by layers of Hongmeng fog, showed some signs. At the same time, the fog also weakened a lot. Long Chen felt the power of the dragon bloodline around him and frowned. He said, "It's about time. The suppressive force of the dragon bloodline is almost gone." Jian Shisan nodded and said, "The invading force is also gone. It seems that the array is really operating to its limit." Another explosion of Hongmeng sounded. This time, the fog surrounding the ancient battlefield had dissipated by more than half. Looking from the entrance, one could see the piles of bones in the ancient battlefield. Everyone at the scene understood that the ancient battlefield had truly opened at this moment. Chapter 1944. No one knew who gave the order, but the cultivators surrounding the ancient battlefield mountain range charged into the ancient battlefield mountain range like a group of birds crossing a river. At this time, no one cared about the dignity of the four great demon clans. They directly rushed into the ancient battlefield mountain range. After all, the earlier they entered, the higher their chances of obtaining the spiritual treasure. 100,000 years ago, the top cultivators of the three great polar regions and Long Meng polar region died here. The spiritual treasures that these people brought with them were definitely rare in the world. Long Chen's eyes flashed with excitement as he felt the ancient power of Hong Meng coming from the ancient battlefield mountain range. An area like the ancient battlefield was like a small spiritual world. Every time it appeared, it was destined to arouse the people around it. Countless people were crazy about it. Countless figures activated the power of Hong Meng around them and stepped into the ancient battlefield mountain range one by one. The four great demon clans were in a favorable position, so they had already jumped up and took the lead. Under the temptation of the ancient battlefield, even the four great demon clans could not remain calm. "Let's go," Long Chen said. Jian Shan activated the sword chi around him and jumped up. He followed the crowd into the ancient battlefield mountain range. Apart from the faint fluctuation of the ancient power of Hong Meng in the mountain range, there was more of a desolate atmosphere. They had just entered the edge of the ancient battlefield mountain range. Long Chen was shocked by the bloody scene. Piles of white bones could be seen everywhere in the mountain range. Moreover, the bones were surrounded by a strong demonic power. From this, it could be seen how tragic the battle 100,000 years ago was. For some reason, after Long Chen and Jian Shan entered the mountain range together, the surroundings seemed to be much more spacious. Perhaps it was because many of the people who entered the mountain range were entering it for the second time, so they were familiar with the ancient battlefield mountain range. Naturally, they knew very well that the mountain range led to the central area. Although this was only the periphery, and most of the skeletons were only primordial realm cultivators, and the spiritual treasures around them had long been plundered by the previous people, Long Chen still saw many skeletons along the way. It was a broken spiritual treasure that was somewhat useful. This made Long Chen even more determined to go to the central area. Jian Shan asked, "Master, should we follow those people and rush to the locations of the spiritual treasures that everyone knows about, or should we find another way and rely on our good luck to find those spiritual treasures that have almost never been discovered?" Long Chen shook his head and said, "Let's follow the people in front of us. The smell of blood here is a little strange. Maybe there are some hidden creatures. If something goes wrong, it won't be worth it." Jian Shan nodded and said, "That makes sense. Then let's follow them." Just like that, Long Chen and Sword 13 arrived at the center of the ancient battlefield after following behind some people that flashed swiftly for almost an hour. Along the way, many people gave up on moving forward and chose to search for spiritual treasures at the edge of the central area. There was no other reason. It was because when they approached the central area, the suppression of the Dragon Clan bloodline that lingered between heaven and earth appeared again. Fortunately, Long Chen did not feel much pressure. After all, he had the support of the heavenly dragon bloodline. After a period of travel, Long Chen and Jian Shan finally saw the central area. In the depths of the mountain range, the general terrain was almost the shape of a canyon. Bursts of red light shot up to the sky, and the surroundings were filled with the fierce aura of Hong Meng, which was daunting. It turned out that the central area of the ancient battlefield was actually a formation. This kind of formation was similar to the formation outside the ancient battlefield. Due to the fact that there was too much primordial power within and the baleful aura that lingered after a great battle, these places had spontaneously formed this kind of space-sealing formation. Without any external interference, this kind of formation was able to refine the primordial energy within the formation on its own. Then, using this energy, it could maintain the operation of the formation. After the formation was in operation, it could stimulate the flow of fiendish energy within the formation. It formed a self-circulation. The formation in the canyon in the distance was formed in this way. Perhaps it was because too many powerful people had fallen in this canyon during that great battle, so this canyon still had such a strong fiendish chi even now. Looking at the big formation, Jianshi could not help but frown, and said, "Master, is it possible that we can only get the spiritual treasure inside by entering this big formation?" Longchen withdrew the Hongmeng power he had released, shook his head, and said, "The evil chi of the big formation is too strong. Not to mention you and me, even people at the level of the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan have no way to enter unscathed. Look, people who come to the central area all stay outside this big formation. If I'm not wrong, maybe the spiritual treasure stored in this big formation will fly out by itself." "Fly out by itself?" Jianshi frowned, and said, "The spiritual treasure will grow legs and fly out. How is this possible?" Longchen waved his hand, and said, "It's impossible in other places, but it's possible here." "What do you mean?" Seeing Longchen's dignified expression, Jianshi immediately understood that the big formation in front of them was extraordinary. Longchen said slowly, "This big formation is formed spontaneously because the surrounding Hongmeng is too strong, and the evil chi in it has not dissipated for a long time. However, the big formation in the central area is different from the big formation in the periphery of the ancient battlefield. The big formation in the periphery of the ancient battlefield only absorbs the Hongmeng between heaven and earth, so every once in a while, the big formation will weaken for a period of time, which gives us the opportunity to come here through the big formation. As for the great formation in front of us," Longchen frowned and continued, "it seems that there are still living creatures in it. Therefore, this great formation can continue to operate under the guidance of some kind of power for thousands of years, or even tens of thousands of years. 100,000 years. After listening to Longchen's analysis, Jianshi was shocked. It was also at this time that the big formation in the distant canyon suddenly burst out with a reddish light more intense than before, and a vigorous Hongmeng evil chi gushed out, immediately causing the surrounding Hongmeng to fluctuate. Then, before anyone could react, a dazzling golden light burst out directly from the big formation. Chapter 1945. The dazzling golden light sprinkled over the ancient battlefield mountain range, and the large formation in the center suddenly vibrated with Hongmeng waves, one after another. The massive golden light burst out from the large formation, like a new sun. It moved slowly above the large formation, as if it was completing some operations. The golden light slowly faded, and after nearly 10 breaths, several faint Hongmeng waves flowed out from the golden light. "The spiritual treasure has appeared." Someone in the surrounding crowd took the lead to shout. In an instant, the atmosphere around the large formation became lively. What flowed out from the golden light were beams of different shapes. Once these beams of light appeared, they completely pushed the atmosphere around the large formation to its peak. Longchen could clearly see that the beams of light with different shapes were numinous treasures. There were long swords, seals, robes. The surrounding people all understood one thing. The numinous treasures that came out of this golden light were all extraordinary. Before Longchen could make a decision, the surrounding practitioners flew up one by one and went straight for the beams of light. This time, there were about a dozen beams of light, and there were nearly 100 people rushing toward these beams of light. To successfully obtain a spiritual treasure, not to mention how difficult it was to successfully obtain it, just standing out from the surrounding people fighting for it was already a difficult task. Since they dared to come to the central area, the strength of these people must not be underestimated. At the very least, they had to start from Hongmeng Tianjing. Very quickly, before the figures who were flying up into the air could get close to those spiritual treasures, the great ferocious force had already exploded layer by layer in midair. Between competitors, there was no need for mercy. When there were fewer and fewer people around, Longchen turned around and saw a few dragon python cultivators on the mountain top in the distance. Because they were too far away, Longchen could not detect the aura of those practitioners. However, Longchen knew very well that the patriarch of the dragon python tribe must be among them. Since the patriarch of the dragon python clan did not intend to take action, Longchen knew that the first wave of spiritual treasures should not be of good quality. Until now, Longchen was more and more curious about the big formation. Since it was a big formation that could operate on its own, why would it throw out the spiritual treasures so often? Longchen pulled Jianshi-san aside and said, "Let's not go yet. Let's wait and see." Jianshi-san was also a person who had seen the world. He didn't care much about these spirit treasures. After all, he could even give up a long sword that contained the essence of the Dragon Ball. What spirit treasure couldn't he give up? Jianshi-san smiled and said, "If we can enter this formation, or if we can control this formation, then that's the way to go." Longchen snorted and said, "When you become a Hongmeng Dao ancestor, you can say that. All right. Give me 10,000 years. Jianshi-san said straightforwardly. Longchen let out a long sigh. Longchen's eyes did not stop looking at the golden light above the formation for even a moment. Within the golden light, there were light beams that flowed out from time to time. It did not seem to be released by the golden light. Instead, it seemed that the golden light was not actively releasing them. It was more like those beams of light had broken through the shackles of the golden light. The area around the formation was already in chaos. Many people endured the suppression of the dragon bloodline and the invasion of Hongmeng's power to successfully reach the top of the formation and obtain the floating light beams. In other words, they took control of the spirits. Treasure. However, in many cases, after someone obtained a soul treasure, several Hongmeng forces would come from behind and directly bombard that person's body before they could even see it clearly. A single numinous treasure had caused a series of battles. People were tangled up in a melee, and the fiendish chi burst forth, pushing forward layer by layer. Longchen saw that not only did the Dragon Python clan not take action, but also many people around the formation chose to observe. It seemed that the Dragon Python clan did indeed have their own plans. Moreover, this plan might very well be able to obtain the greatest craftsmanship. After the first wave of soul treasures lasted for nearly half an hour, most of them were obtained by people. Those who snatched the soul treasures directly left the central area, presumably afraid of another sudden change. After all, to be able to obtain a soul treasure in the opening of the ancient battlefield this time was a huge gain. The formation was silent for a period of time, but the people around it did not stop their enthusiasm. At this time, there were already some people who were forced to leave because they could not withstand the suppression of the dragon bloodline around the formation. Seeing these people leave, Longchen came to his senses. It turned out that with the release of the soul treasures, the dragon clan around the formation would become stronger. The power of the dragon bloodline would become stronger and stronger. Seeing this, Longchen became more and more curious about the mystery behind the operation of this formation. Now, there was one thing that he could be sure of, and that was that behind this formation, there was definitely a shocking secret. The golden light above the formation was still emitting a bright light, as if it was preparing for the next release of the light beam. Soon, a new round of light beams burst forth, not letting down the people's expectations. Another dozen or so spirit treasures surged forth before drifting toward the surroundings of the formation. And this time, from the Hongmeng waves that were released around the formation, the power of the soul treasures this time was much stronger than the first one. Thinking about it, this was the reason why some people were waiting. Suddenly, when the soul treasures were floating, on the other side of Longchen, a burly man jumped up and took the lead, taking the lead to snatch the soul treasures. Jianshi-san looked at the burly figure and said slowly, "That's a man from the Dragonesque Elephant clan. I saw him in the Great Desolation Castle. I think he's called Xiang Man." Longchen nodded and said, "It seems that this Xiang Man is not common enough." The other four demon clans did not take action. Only the Dragonesque Elephant clan wants to take action? The Dragonesque Elephant clan has never been interested in these soul treasures. I think for them, they will be satisfied if they can more or less get some benefits from this trip to the ancient battlefield, Jianshi-san replied. Longchen smiled and looked at Xiang Man. At this time, Xiang Man was far ahead of the others who wanted to take the soul treasures this time. As long as Xiang Man could withstand the pressure of the formation, he would definitely be able to get a soul treasure. Soon, Xiang Man's figure flashed, and in the blink of an eye, he approached a light beam. He waved his hand and directly grasped the light beam in his hand. Chapter 1946. Long. The moment barbarian Xiang grasped the beam of light in his hand, a very rich grand mist aura burst out from it. The beam of light also suddenly emitted a dazzling light, which directly spread along with the light, producing a pure wave of energy. Hongmeng power, immediately and fiercely attacking barbarian Xiang. Seeing this, barbarian Xiang's expression did not show the slightest bit of panic. The corners of his mouth slightly raised, and the Hongmeng aura around his body suddenly swayed out, directly supporting his body with a vigorous energy. Then, barbarian Xiang's other hand waved through the air, directly bringing up several pure Hongmeng astral winds, without any explanation, pressed toward the beam of light. After being suppressed by these forces, the light emitted by the beam of light faintly revealed some shape. Layers of lines surged out from the beam of light. Following these lines, one could vaguely see that the beam of light had already transformed into the prototype of an arm guard. This spirit treasure was an arm guard. At such a distance, even if Long Chen could see that the spirit treasure in the beam of light was an arm guard, there was no way for him to estimate the quality of the arm guard. Thinking about it, to be able to have such a big reaction, in short, it could not be worse than the previous spirit treasures. Wow! When the people behind Barbarian Xiang saw Barbarian Xiang control the sword spirit treasure in his hand, they could not help but exclaim. They were still close to the arm guard, so they could naturally feel the Hongmeng aura contained in the strange lines emitted by the arm guard. Compared to the previous spirit treasures, this arm guard was really too powerful. With the arm guard's spirit treasure in his hand, Barbarian Xiang was overjoyed. He immediately strengthened the Hongmeng aura around him, wanting to completely control the arm guard in his hand. The Draconic Elephant clan was originally famous in the Longmeng Polar region for their strength advantage. At this time, Barbarian Xiang had really displayed the strength of the Draconic Elephant clan to the extreme. The surging primordial qi wrapped around the arm guard layer by layer, and a strong oppressive force directly destroyed all the beams of light around the arm guard's spirit treasure. After a few breaths of time, the elephant barbarian suddenly pulled, and the arm guard's spirit treasure no longer had the beams of light around it. The Hongmeng's energy fluctuations alone were not enough to withstand Barbarian Xiang's power. Barbarian Xiang held the bracer firmly in his hand. Although this process was somewhat rough, one had to admit that Barbarian Xiang had successfully obtained a spirit treasure. Moreover, from the looks of it, this spirit treasure should be the strongest among the spirit treasures that had appeared so far. After that, Barbarian Xiang's figure flashed backwards, completely ignoring the other beams of light that flowed out from the golden ball of light. He directly brushed past the cultivators behind him who wanted to advance towards the spiritual treasure. These cultivators also knew in their hearts that they wouldn't take the initiative to provoke the barbarian elephant of the Dragon Elephant clan. After all, no matter what, the Dragon Elephant clan was able to become one of the 4 great demon clans in the Longmeng Polar region. Naturally, they were extremely strong. This barbarian Xiang is really lucky. It seems that the armguard's spirit treasure is not something ordinary. Jian Shan slightly narrowed his eyes and praised. Long Chen nodded and said, "The armguard's spirit treasure is a very rare type. I think it must have been owned by a human cultivator who came to the Longmeng Polar region 100,000 years ago. How can the spirit treasure of a Hongmeng Tianjing expert be ordinary? Just like Shifeng's robe before, isn't it also? Did it once make you feel helpless?" Jian Shan smiled and said, "I hope that our luck is not bad. Wait for a better spirit treasure to appear in a while. We will definitely not let it go. That's for sure," Long Chen said firmly. After Barbarian Xiang obtained the first spirit treasure in the second wave, another group of figures swept through the air like a river and rushed towards the light beams. However, these people did not have the strength of Hongmeng Qi like Barbarian Xiang. Because on this large formation, not only did they have to resist the suppression of the Dragon Clan's bloodline in the formation, but they also had to successfully obtain a spirit treasure from a group of competitors. In addition to luck, it also depended on strength. Soon, another incense stick of time passed. After the battle on the large formation ended, the people who obtained the spirit treasure hurriedly fled, and the people who did not obtain the spirit treasure continued to wait. This time, the sword Armguard's spirit treasure obtained by Barbarian Xiang was the most precious. Presumably, this was the tacit agreement of everyone present. Although the spirit treasures after that each had their own merits, just based on the fluctuation of the previous Armguard's spirit treasure, judging from the light patterns that came out, this Armguard's spirit treasure had another mystery. However, it was useless to be envious now. After Barbarian Xiang obtained the Armguard's spirit treasure, he and his Dragon Elephant clan quieted down. Although they did not leave, they did not fight anymore. It could be assumed that they were waiting for the last surprise. Longchen looked at the area where the Dragon Python clan was located. Only then did he realize that although the practitioners of the Dragon Python clan did not attack, they were also staring at the golden light ball above the formation as if they were looking for something. Longchen knew that since the Dragon Python clan had sent out the Dragon Python clan leader, they must have prepared something, and this preparation might be the most valuable spirit treasure in this large formation. And this kind of spirit treasure was exactly what Longchen needed. Longchen was not idle. After a period of adaptation, Longchen could already skillfully use the Sky Dragon strength in his body to resist the suppression of the large formation. Moreover, he could also release a part of his mind in the gap to explore the spirit treasure. The essence of the golden light. Longchen released a part of his mind and slowly approached the golden light in midair. What Longchen did not expect was that in just a moment, before his mind could completely wrap around the golden light in the middle of the golden light, he directly released a wave of ferocious energy, which directly destroyed Longchen's mind. This situation was really somewhat out of Longchen's expectation. However, this also surprised Longchen. After all, the more peculiar it was, the more precious the spirit treasure in it was. Longchen released his Sky Dragon strength again and let it wrap around his mind. Taking advantage of the gap in the golden light in the air, Longchen directly urged Hongmeng to release his mind into it. Go! This time, because of the wrapping of the Sky Dragon strength, Longchen's mind was not immediately destroyed by the golden light. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Longchen hurriedly tried his best to cover the entire golden light with his mind. After that, Longchen's mind information was sent back to Longchen's mind at an extremely fast speed. At this time, Longchen smiled slightly, and a touch of surprise flashed in his eyes. Chapter 1947. Swoosh! Swoosh! The golden light above the formation once again gathered a wave of Hongmeng waves. The third wave of light arrived as expected. This time, the light beam did not reveal the appearance of the spiritual treasure wrapped in it, but the people around the formation perceived the spiritual treasure light pattern emitted from these light beams. It should be known that in the second wave of light beams, only the Armguard's spiritual treasure obtained by Xiang Man had produced light patterns. This light pattern only appeared after Xiang Man had broken the power of the light beams around the spiritual treasure. In the third wave, the light beams around the spiritual treasure light pattern. The power of the third wave had not yet subsided, but the spiritual treasure light pattern had already been emitted. In other words, the quality of the spiritual treasure in the third wave was higher than that of the previous spiritual treasures, and it was more than one level higher. Soon, after the golden light spread out the light beam, Longchen's mind, which was released in the golden light ball, was destroyed again. Withdrawing the Sky Dragon power, Longchen looked at the golden light ball in the air with interest and smiled slightly. In this exploration, Longchen perceived a trace of Hongmeng fluctuation in the golden light ball. This fluctuation originated from the operation of Hongmeng. According to Longchen's current understanding of this world, there was only one explanation for this situation. That was, in this golden light ball, or in this formation, there was a living creature, which was carrying out the self-circulation of Hongmeng power. This was undoubtedly shocking news. It should be known that the ancient battlefield had been operating for nearly 100,000 years. Regarding the formation in the center of the ancient battlefield, even people like the Dragon Python clan leader had not really gone in to explore, let alone understand the golden light. What exactly was the spiritual treasure in the light ball? Longchen looked at the members of the Dragon Python clan in the distance. From their expressions, he could sense something. Did the Dragon Python clan already know about the existence of this living creature? Longchen muttered to himself. Suddenly, when Longchen's voice fell, the spiritual treasure light pattern emitted by the third wave of light beams suddenly expanded a little. The practitioners around the formation were overjoyed. They immediately operated the Hongmeng around their bodies, preparing to rush into the air to fight for the third wave of spiritual treasures. Thinking about it, with such a fierce spiritual treasure light pattern, even if they could get one of the spiritual treasures in the third wave of light beam, it would be a worthwhile trip. However, it was not that easy to get one of the spiritual treasures in the third wave of spiritual treasures. On one hand, the cultivators who had been enduring the surroundings of the Great Formation had already been exhausted by the endless Dragon Clan bloodline power that was being released by the Great Formation. On the other hand, around the Great Formation, as the spiritual treasure light beam shot out, the invading force was also growing stronger and stronger. Now, it was not easy to operate the primordial chaos around his body as easily as before. Of course, other than Longchen, almost no one thought about the reason for this mysterious change. It was as if these cultivators believed that this was a rule, and everyone who came here had to follow it. Master, do you want to make a move? Feeling the spiritual treasure light pattern emitted by the light beam, Jian Shirshan was also quite tempted. After all, Jian Shirshan did not have the Dragon Clan bloodline in his body, so he was not suppressed by the Dragon Clan bloodline at all. The sword power in the third wave of Sword 10 could also suppress the expansion of the spiritual treasures. Therefore, if Jian Shirshan wanted to snatch these spiritual treasures, compared to others, it was naturally much easier. Longchen shook his head and said, "Let's wait for a while. I think there are more things behind." Just as his voice fell, before the practitioners around the formation who were rushing toward the third wave of light beam could get close to those light beams, a huge black shadow swept across the air, directly shaking out layers of Hongmeng pressure. It can actually exert the Hongmeng around the body so strongly? Longchen was a little surprised. Because of the Dragon Clan bloodline in the formation, all the Dragon Clan demons present would be suppressed by the Dragon Clan bloodline, and even operating the Hongmeng around the body would be difficult. Not to mention exerting the Hongmeng power to the extent that it could suppress this part of the world. Jian Shirshan glanced at the black shadow and said slowly, "Master, that is the demon phoenix. They do not have the Dragon Clan bloodline in their bodies, so naturally they will not be suppressed by the bloodline." Hearing this, Longchen nodded. Only now did he understand the profoundness within. Since the people of Demon Phoenix could compete with the Dragon Clan demons in the Longmeng Polar region and obtain the position of the four great demon clans, it was clear that the strength of the people of Demon Phoenix was very strong. When the figure of the Demon Phoenix completely appeared in front of everyone's eyes, in the blink of an eye, a purple electric light condensed from the power of the Hongmeng burst out, directly rushing toward the light beam released by the golden light ball. When the people around the formation saw the Demon Phoenix make a move, they almost spontaneously stopped the aura of the Hongmeng around them, and then slowly gathered together. Looking at the Demon Phoenix's movements in the air, they no longer had any intention of making a move. Indeed, they had to give some face to the four great demon clans, let alone the Demon Phoenix. The strength of the Demon Phoenix that made a move was unknown. As the Hongmeng around its body flashed, the purple electric light drew several strong imprints in the air. The places where the imprints remained were all controlled by the 9 nether demon. The Phoenix controlled them. The third wave of light that was released from the golden light cluster contained rich soul treasure light runes. At the same time, these light beams contained a strong invading force. Even if the Demon Phoenix was not suppressed by the Dragon Clan's bloodline in the formation, this invading force was enough to make the Demon Phoenix suffer a little. At this time, the demon phoenix had already chosen its target. After a short period of power accumulation, it directly waved the purple electric light in its hand and rushed toward the light beam. Quick! Once the purple electric light in the demon phoenix's hand was released, it immediately surrounded the light beam. Suddenly, the demon phoenix's expression became somewhat joyful. Before the demon phoenix could completely retract the light beam that was surrounded by the purple electric light, its expression suddenly changed. Obviously, the light beam was not willing to yield to the demon phoenix's hands. The violent and strong Hongmeng's invading force directly rushed toward the purple electric light. The waves of Hongmeng pushing forward directly shocked the demon phoenix. It immediately pulled back, temporarily retracting the purple electric light from the light beam. Come! From the looks of it, the invading force contained in this third light beam was not just a little bit more than the previous two. It could even be said that it was several times more powerful. After retracting the purple electric light, the demon phoenix hurriedly calmed its Hongmeng. It was not discouraged and immediately began to prepare for the next attack. Chapter 1948. The purple lightning struck again, and the demon phoenix's expression turned solemn. The cultivators around the array also became nervous. They also wanted to see how strong the third wave of numinous treasures were, since they had such a strong resistance. The light beam in the air suddenly released several Hongmeng auras, and a vigorous invading force spread out from it. After a period of preparation, the purple lightning once again struck toward the light beam. Chi! The purple lightning and the light beam collided, and an extremely strong Hongmeng aura was released at the point of contact. It was like the radiance of the moon, and immediately covered the entire great array. Seeing this, Longchen frowned and said, "The demon phoenix can't be taken down." Just from the invading force released by the light beam before, the third wave of spiritual treasures was not something that could be taken down by an ordinary person. In the air, the demon phoenix controlled the purple lightning in its hand to entangle with the light beam. The spiritual treasure light pattern released by the light beam became more and more intense, and the invading force it contained gradually increased. This entanglement lasted for nearly half a minute. As time passed, the purple lightning in the demon phoenix's hand gradually faded, and it quickly lost its previous sharp aura. The invading force released by the light beam did not decrease, but increased instead, as if it was endless. Humph! The demon phoenix persevered until this moment, and its expression suddenly changed. The purple lightning in its hand instantly disappeared, and it directly leaped up, leaving the great array without any hesitation. The demon phoenix actually gave up on this spiritual treasure? This surprised Longchen. He did not expect that the most powerful demon phoenix in the Longmeng polar region would retreat in the third wave of spiritual treasures. After the demon phoenix retreated, although the people around the great array were eager to try, they did not dare to make a move for a long time. After all, even the demon phoenix, who was naturally immune to the suppression of the dragon clan's bloodline, had failed in the third round of the competition for the spiritual treasure, let alone the dragonborn demons who had been enduring the suppression of their bloodline. After leaving the great array, the demon phoenix's expression was somewhat desolate. She shook her head at the great array, before leaping up once again and flying towards the exit. It seemed that the demon phoenix had given up. The cultivators who were still around the array looked at the numinous treasures that were less than 10 feet away from them with mixed feelings. Jianshi-san said excitedly, "Master, it seems that the third wave of spiritual treasures is going to be difficult." Longchen nodded and said, "Indeed, I'm a little curious. What are these spiritual treasures hidden in the light beams?" Jianshi-san made a bold prediction: they're definitely not the arm guards, armor, robes, or weapons from before. I reckon that they should be the natal spiritual treasures created by the Hongmeng Tianjing powerhouses 100,000 years ago. Maybe there are still artifact spirits living in them. The so-called natal spiritual treasures were a method that the powerhouses of the Hongmeng Tianjing could use to control spiritual treasures. Intuitively speaking, it was to form a certain connection between the spiritual treasure and the owner. This process was called refining, and it was something that only the powerhouses of the Hongmeng Tianjing could do. After the refining was successful, the spiritual treasure would become the owner's natal spiritual treasure. After that, the owner could directly control his natal spiritual treasure with an extremely small amount of mind and make it complete the owner's goal. Moreover, what was even more shocking was that even if the natal spiritual treasure was thousands of miles away from the owner, as long as the owner's mind moved, the natal spiritual treasure could directly move. Therefore, most of the powerhouses of the Hongmeng Tianjing would choose to refine their natal spiritual treasures. For example, the long sword in Jian Shisan's hand and the robe on Shifeng's body had already been refined into natal spiritual treasures. However, it was very unwise to refine spiritual treasures like weapons and robes into natal spiritual treasures. After all, as long as the long sword was held in the hand, most of its power could be exerted, and the robe could be controlled. To a large extent, the real powerhouses chose to refine spiritual treasures that contained some mysteries and were not convenient to carry around in battle. Only such natal spiritual treasures could give the enemy a fatal blow at the most critical moment. Long Chen smiled slightly and said, "If it's really a natal spiritual treasure, then it's going to be interesting." Soon, after the demon phoenix left, a figure flew out from the crowd of cultivators who had been silent for a long time and went straight to the top of the great array. "The Dragon Lion clan can't hold back anymore," Jian Shisan said slowly as he looked at the figure that rushed to the top of the great array. Long Chen's eyes were deep as he said, "I guess they can't bear the bloodline suppression here and want to make a last attempt." The Dragon Lion's aura was strong, and from the very beginning, he had a determined expression. Just as everyone was curious about whether he could successfully obtain the spiritual treasure, in less than 10 breaths, the Dragon Lion had completely retreated from Hongmeng and returned to the starting point with his tail between his legs. The crowd originally wanted to fool him, but unexpectedly, not long after the Dragon Lion retreated, an extremely strong Dragon Clan bloodline suppression burst out between heaven and earth. It turned out that the Dragon Lion was forcibly suppressed by the Dragon Clan bloodline power that suddenly burst out. The Dragon Lion could not be blamed for this. After all, he had the Dragon Clan bloodline in his body, and this was not something he could decide. What's more, even the Demon Phoenix, who did not have the Dragon Clan bloodline in her body, had failed. It was understandable that the Dragon Clan Demon Clan had failed. When the Dragon Tribe bloodline suppression that suddenly burst forth dissipated, many cultivators lost their will. In addition to the rich bloodline suppression around the Great Array, a portion of the cultivators directly chose to leave this Great Array. Rather than wasting time here, they might as well go to the edge of the ancient battlefield and try their luck. Who knows, they might be able to pick up 1 or 2 spiritual treasures that no one had discovered in the past 100,000 years. In this way, more and more practitioners had this idea, and the crowd around the Great Array gradually thinned out. Long Chen looked at the Dragon Python clan in the distance and thought, the Dragon Python clan leader can still hold back? Finally, after several practitioners who wanted to leave failed in their last attempt, the Dragon Python clan, who had always chosen to watch the fire burn across the river, finally could not resist the temptation of the spiritual treasure and made a move. It was a burly dragon python cultivator. The moment he rose into the air and rushed toward the big formation, Long Chen was sure that this person was the Dragon Python clan leader without a doubt. Chapter 1949. The Hongmeng energy around the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan was fluctuating. He looked at the beam of light in the air with a fierce look in his eyes. A few long green whips appeared in his palms. With a sudden lash, the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan soared into the air and rushed toward the beam of light. The cultivators around the array could not help but hold their breaths when they saw this scene. There was a slight expectation in their eyes. Perhaps these people only knew that it was a cultivator from the Dragon Python clan who was attacking, but they did not know that this cultivator was the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan himself. But no matter what, since the people of the 4 major demon clans were attacking, the cultivators around the array would not interfere. Seeing the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan suddenly attack, Long Chen smiled slightly. "Master, what do you think his chances are?" Jianshi San was a little flustered, as if he was afraid that the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan could get his hands on the spiritual treasure. Longchen shook his head and said, "It's hard to say. But, according to my estimation, even if the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan is prepared, his chances of success are less than 50%. 50%? Jianshi San heaved a sigh of relief and said, "That's a pretty good chance." Above the array, there were a total of 7 beams of light flowing out from the golden light cluster, all of which had spiritual treasure light inscriptions. Previously, most of the cultivators who had tried to attack the first beam of light with the strongest spiritual treasure light inscriptions were helpless. But, the invading force of that beam of light was too fierce, and coupled with the increasing suppression of the Dragon Clan bloodline above the array, the cultivators who had tried to attack the first beam of light had all returned empty-handed. But now, the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan's target was not the strongest beam of light with the spiritual treasure light inscriptions, but the few beams of light far away from the array. Seeing the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan's behavior, Longchen shook his head and said, "The dignified Stage 8 Hong Meng Tianjing dares not even try the strongest beam of light with the spiritual treasure light inscriptions." Jianshi San paused and said, "Master, if that's the case, what are the chances of the Dragon Python patriarch succeeding?" Longchen shrugged and said, "If he can't take down the other beams with his strength of Hong Meng Tianjing Stage 8, then he shouldn't be the patriarch." Hearing this, Jianshi San's heart stirred. Longchen hurriedly said, "Don't worry, the momentum of this golden light ball has not dissipated. Even if the Dragon Python patriarch has obtained all the spiritual treasures in this wave, there will definitely be another wave." Jianshi San heaved a sigh of relief. Just as Longchen had expected, when the clan leader of the Dragon Python clan approached the formation, he used the green whip in his hand to directly pull the weaker light beams from the spiritual treasure into his hand. As for the invading force, it was as if he had completely ignored it. In the eyes of the Dragon Python clan's bloodline suppression above the formation, it was as if it was nothing. This caused the cultivators around the array to be somewhat puzzled. However, what was the use of being puzzled here? That person was a practitioner of the Dragon Python clan. Almost in the blink of an eye, the 4 beams of light above the formation were firmly grasped by the clan leader of the Dragon Python clan. The clan leader of the Dragon Python clan was satisfied. After he had controlled the 4 beams of light, he immediately turned around and flashed away, forcibly stripping the 4 beams of light from above the formation. As for what kind of spiritual treasure was in the 4 beams of light, no one knew. After the clan leader of the Dragon Python clan returned, there were still 3 beams of light above the formation. Without exception, the invading force contained in these 3 beams of light above the formation was far greater than that of the 4 beams that the clan leader of the Dragon Python clan had plundered. It was not easy to obtain them easily. However, even so, there were still people around the formation who were eager to give it a try. Soon, a series of attempts were made, but all of them ended in failure. At this time, Longchen released a Hongmeng aura and said to Jianshi San, "San, wait here. I'll try." Jianshi San paused and said, "Master, do you want me to go?" "I don't have." Before Jianshi San could finish his words, Longchen waved his hand and forcibly interrupted him. "Save some of your strength. I'm afraid that after I get those spiritual treasures, others will attack us." Only now did Sword 13 understand tacitly. After all, anything could happen in this ancient battlefield, and the battle on the Grand Formation from before was already shocking enough. Moreover, the Dragon Python clan had been waiting by the side. Even though the clan leader of the Dragon Python clan had plundered the 4 beams of light, the Dragon Python clan still did not leave. Obviously, they still had a plan. As soon as his voice fell, the Hongmeng aura around Longchen rose again. Then, among the eager crowd around the formation, Longchen's figure swept into the air and directly rushed to the top of the formation. The people around the formation immediately looked like they were watching a show. They could sense clearly that Longchen's strength was just that of a Hongmeng Yuan Jie. After all, even the Hongmeng Tianjing experts were helpless against the three beams of light, let alone a mere Hongmeng Yuanjie. In the distance, when the clan leader of the Dragon Python clan saw Longchen take action, he could not help but snort coldly. His expression was full of ridicule. Longchen did not pay any attention to the ridicule and doubts around him. Longchen, who was already floating above the formation, slowly approached the three beams of light. The Hongmeng around his body burst out continuously, and the heavenly dragon bloodline in his body was also operating to the extreme at this moment. Kill! Longchen suddenly pushed, and a surge of Hongmeng power bombarded the foremost beam of light. Seeing this scene, the doubts around the formation became even more intense. In addition to the doubts, the practitioners were also curious. Where did this Hongmeng Yuanjie's confidence come from? The foremost beam of light was a failure of the demon phoenix. The Dragon Lion clan was also helpless against it, and the Dragon Python clan had to avoid its sharp edge. The clan leader of the Dragon Python clan shook his head and muttered, "You overestimate yourself." Longchen did not know what the others were thinking. At this time, although Longchen was taking action against the foremost beam of light, Longchen's most fundamental goal was the golden light ball that was spreading these beams of light. Ever since Longchen came to the center of the ancient battlefield, he had always had a question. This question was something that the practitioners of the demon clan present had never paid attention to. However, in Longchen's view, this was precisely the greatest mystery of the ancient battlefield. As long as he could figure out this question, not to mention these few spiritual treasures, even the entire ancient battlefield would be in Longchen's hands. The question was, what exactly did the golden light ball above the formation look like? Chapter 1950. It was the peerless Dragon Emperor. Thinking of this, Longchen withdrew the Hongmeng that he had placed on the light beam. At the same time, he circulated the heavenly dragon power to the extreme. Then, Longchen released the Hongmeng that he had withdrawn. This time, it was aimed at the golden light ball. Kill! The vigorous Hongmeng power directly crashed into the golden light ball. In the blink of an eye, the golden light ball released an extremely strong Hongmeng storm. With itself as the center, it raged in all directions. Boom! Because the golden light ball had been bombarded by Longchen, the Hongmeng storm that swept out not only contained the pure Hongmeng qi, but also the invading force that had always existed. For a moment, the people around the large formation were wrapped by the invading force. They could not help but feel pain. Is he crazy? Why did he attack the large formation's core? Does he want to die? Don't tell me he wants to drag me to death too? Let's go! Longchen's actions immediately enraged the cultivators around the large formation. At the same time, these cultivators could not understand why Longchen did not plunder the light beams in the air. Why did he have to attack the mysterious golden light ball? It should be known that the golden light ball was definitely not an ordinary object since it could release such a powerful invading force. Jian Shan circulated the sword power around his body to resist the invading force released by the golden light ball above the large formation. In the air, Longchen was still continuously releasing the Hongmeng qi toward the golden light ball. His expression was extremely solemn. From the previous probing, Longchen had already obtained some of the mysteries of the golden light ball. This also allowed Longchen to confirm some of his previous conjectures. Not only did the golden light ball store countless Dao spiritual treasures, but more importantly, there was a faintly discernible living being in the golden light ball. A living being that could survive in this ancient battlefield for 100,000 years was definitely not an ordinary being. Longchen was firm in this belief. He attacked the golden light ball even more fiercely. Even with the invading force that was like a giant mountain pressing down on his body, Longchen's expression did not change. He continued to release the Hongmeng qi around his body again and again, bombarding the golden light ball in the distance. What was even more shocking was that Longchen's body moved a lot closer to the golden light ball during the interval between the attacks. Watching this scene from afar, the Dragon Python clan leader could not help but frown. There was a look of fear on his face, but more than that, there was a sense of disdain that came from his bones. With the strength of a mere Hongmeng Yuan Jia, you want to gain control of this large formation? You're really overestimating yourself. The Dragon Python clan leader snorted coldly, the corners of his mouth rising slowly. Jianshi San did not know what Long Chen was trying to do, but he trusted Long Chen from the bottom of his heart. Jianshi San firmly believed that no matter what attempt Long Chen made, he would definitely succeed. The final reward would be even more amazing. Long Chen was getting closer and closer to the golden light ball. Although the invading force that was wrapped around him was getting stronger, it could not stop Long Chen's advance. Bursts of Hongmeng transformed into the purest and strongest power, bombarding the golden light ball continuously. The evil ball of light seemed to be shocked by Long Chen's actions. Perhaps it was because in the past thousands of years, there had never been anyone like Long Chen who ignored the light beam numinous treasures at his fingertips and attacked the golden ball of light at the core of the great array instead of the light beam numinous treasures. Long Chen once again moved a distance away, his eyes suddenly releasing a stern look. At the same time, Long Chen released an extremely violent Hongmeng suppressive force around his body, which actually wrapped around the golden light ball in an instant. In the next moment, the golden light ball burst forth with an invading force that swept over the large formation, causing the entire large formation to tremble faintly. Under the dull tremor, the power of the Dragon Clan bloodline in the central area suddenly rose, and most of the demons with dragon descent who were present fell to the ground. Long Chen, who was in midair, saw this scene and the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. In the blink of an eye, the power of the Dragon Clan bloodline and the invading force in the golden light ball suddenly disappeared, replaced by an extremely strong pulling force. Before the pulling force spread to Long Chen's side, Long Chen took the initiative to rush toward the golden light ball. The two forces converged, and in an instant at most, Long Chen's entire body sank into the golden light ball. In the next moment, the power of the Dragon Clan bloodline around the large formation suddenly disappeared, and the invading force gradually decreased. The golden light ball became a little dim, as if it had gone through a nirvana. Above the large formation, the light beams that had spread out earlier also lost the support of the invading force. The surrounding light gradually receded, and the spiritual treasures of various shapes and sizes began to take shape. However, the cultivators around the large formation were not that interested in the light beams that revealed the light patterns of the spiritual treasures. They were more curious about what had just happened. The person who seemed to have no regard for his life above the large formation, the person who had done something that no one had ever done for thousands of years, had actually disappeared. Had he really entered the golden light ball, or had he been killed by the golden light ball? Master. Seeing this scene, Jianshi San's heart immediately tightened, and the sword force around him trembled slightly. The cultivators around the large formation looked at the light beams floating above the large formation, which had lost much of their invading force. They were somewhat eager to give it a try, and they could not help but discuss it. Did that person just now go in? He should have been killed by the large formation. The light beams now no longer have their original invading force. Does anyone dare to follow me? No one answered. At this time, even if there was a spiritual treasure in front of them, no one was willing to be the first to stand out in front of such a mysterious and unpredictable large formation. Seeing this scene, the expression of the Dragon Python clan leader changed abruptly, and the original contempt disappeared. Then, Hongmeng burst out from the Dragon Python clan leader's body, and his figure soared into the air. Then, layers of Hongmeng chi radiated from his body, and he also rushed toward the golden light ball. It seemed that the Dragon Python clan leader, like Long Chen, had some other thoughts about the golden light ball. Clang! Just when the Dragon Python clan leader's figure was a few feet away from the golden light ball, the golden light directly released a powerful invading force, and directly bombarded the Dragon Python clan leader. With a loud bang, the Dragon Python clan leader's figure was directly pushed back by this invading force. Chapter 1951. the huge impact landed heavily on the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan. Even with the strength of the patriarch of the Dragon Python clan, it was difficult for him to withstand the impact. He could only fly backward and stabilize his mind. After the Dragon Python patriarch landed on the ground, his expression became gloomy. The way he looked at the golden light ball in the air became somewhat terrifying. The rest of the Dragon Python cultivators quickly came over and surrounded the Dragon Python patriarch. The patriarch of the Dragon Pythons breathed a sigh of relief after calming down the chaotic primordial aura in his body. Then, in a low voice, he said to the Dragon Pythons around him, "Don't attack for now." The other Dragon Python practitioners quickly nodded. After the practitioners around the formation saw the Dragon Python patriarch make a move, they were even less interested in the spiritual treasures above the formation. No matter how good the spiritual treasures were, they had to be alive to use them. However, there was also a piece of good news for the practitioners waiting around the formation. The power of the Dragon Clan's bloodline that had been lingering around the Great Formation had disappeared after Long Chen's collision. Although there were still some invasive forces released from the dark golden light ball from time to time, without the suppression of the Dragon Clan's bloodline, it meant that as long as the entire ancient battlefield did not collapse, they could continue to stay here. Jianshi-san moved closer to the formation, and the sword chi around him rang. The moment Longchen came into contact with the golden light ball, Longchen was surprised to find that the seemingly violent and strong Hongmeng chi released from the golden light ball dissipated the moment he came into contact with the golden light ball. Then, Longchen was enveloped by the golden light ball, and he could not help but close his eyes. When Longchen regained his composure and opened his eyes, what appeared in front of Longchen was a completely different scene from before. This was a resplendent space with no end in sight. It was filled with the same golden light balls that had appeared above the formation. These golden light balls wandered aimlessly in this resplendent space, and there were some Hongmeng chi auras around them. Compared to the golden light balls above the formation, the golden light balls in this resplendent space were much softer. Longchen slowly walked a few steps, and while feeling the Hongmeng chi around him, he muttered to himself, "Is this the center of the formation?" Longchen tried to release his mind to bless the golden light balls that floated in front of him. Soon, Longchen received a response. These golden light balls were all spiritual treasures. Sword, stone hammer, spirit tablet, Taoist robe. What is this place? Even though so many soul treasures had appeared before Longchen, he did not have much interest in them right now. Instead, he was extremely curious about the origins of the soul treasures and how they had appeared. Moreover, when he recalled the chi of living beings that he had sensed earlier, Longchen was even more eager to find out the secret of this formation. Longchen slowly walked toward the golden light balls. In the resplendent space, there seemed to be no end. As for those golden balls of light, they were boundless. If these golden light balls appeared outside, wouldn't the entire Longmeng polar region go crazy? Suddenly, just as Longchen was about to approach one of the golden light balls, there was a violent vibration in Hongmeng in this resplendent space. The golden light balls floating in the air suddenly stopped their aimless movements, and slowly gathered together. Then, these golden light balls released a strong chi of extermination, and went straight for Longchen. Presumably, this was the entire formation's defense against intruders. However, this defense was too weak for Longchen. Whether it was the power of the Dragon Clan bloodline or the power of invasion, Longchen could deal with them perfectly. If the power of these golden light balls was pure Hongmeng chi, Longchen would not have such confidence. Fortunately, as Longchen had expected, the most important means of the attack of these golden light balls was the power of the Dragon Clan bloodline. Longchen smiled slightly, and directly released the power of the heavenly dragon bloodline around him, forming a strength barrier in front of him. The attack of the golden light balls fell on the strength barrier that Longchen had cast. Almost in an instant, these seemingly surging chi attacks dissipated. After resisting the attack of the golden light balls, Longchen was even more curious. The Great War 100,000 years ago was a battle between the human clan cultivators and the dragon clan cultivators in the three polar regions. As everyone knew, the Dragon Clan believed in the power of the bloodline, and would not refine spiritual treasures at all. In other words, these spiritual treasures should have been left behind by the human clan cultivators who participated in the Great War 100,000 years ago. Then, if these spiritual treasures were used by the human clan cultivators, why did these spiritual treasures have the power of the Dragon Clan bloodline? Although the power of the Dragon Clan's bloodline couldn't be considered strong, it was still the power of the Dragon Clan's bloodline. After the golden light balls dissipated their power, they returned to their previous aimless journey. Longchen continued to walk into the depths of the resplendent space. In the vast expanse, there was no end in sight. Longchen did not have any interest in the spiritual treasures floating in the air. Now, the most important thing was to figure out the mystery of this resplendent space and find the way out. After walking for an unknown period of time, Longchen finally seemed to see the end in front of him. The so-called end was a Hongmeng imprint that stood in the void in this resplendent space. This imprint was not surrounded by golden light balls. It stood there quietly, as if it had not changed for 10,000 years. Longchen slowly approached this imprint and put his arm on it. At that moment, Longchen sensed an extremely ferocious and dense life energy. This life force was the life force that Longchen had sensed when he was above the Great Formation. What kind of creatures were the ancient battlefield's creatures? The human clan, the Dragon Clan, or others? After the Great War, why did they stay in this ancient battlefield for 100,000 years? Longchen put his palm on the imprint. In an instant, the Hongmeng imprint released a layer of surging and buzzing Hongmeng invading force. Along with this invading force was a buzzing sound that echoed incessantly. Longchen operated his Hongmeng aura and heavenly dragon power to the extreme, not daring to relax for a moment. On the Hongmeng imprint, another invading force burst forth. In an instant, the resplendent space was turned upside down. Chapter 1952. When Longchen calmed down, he realized that the space he was in had changed in an instant. The original golden light ball had disappeared, and even the bright space had changed its appearance. Now, Longchen was surrounded by a sealed inner room, which looked like a dilapidated cave. There was almost no light inside, and the darkness was boundless. Descendant of the Dragon Clan, suddenly, a voice rang out from the pitch-black cave. It gave Longchen quite a fright. By the time Longchen reacted to the situation, the voice sounded once again. Descendant of the Dragon Clan, this call was for the descendant of the Dragon Clan. Longchen reacted slightly and immediately came to a realization. He had the blood of the heavenly dragon in his body, so he could be considered as a descendant of the Dragon Clan. But, who was calling him? Where was this cave? Longchen had his suspicions. In order to get to the bottom of this matter, he stepped forward. Even if it was dark in front of him, Longchen was not afraid. As Longchen walked forward, the call came one after another, and the echoes in the cave did not dissipate for a long time. After walking for a long time, he could not see the end of the darkness. Longchen could not help but frown, and the Hongmeng aura around him was awe-inspiring. Break! Suddenly, a pure voice sounded in the cave. Longchen immediately retracted his Hongmeng aura, and when he wanted to do something, he realized that there was no more darkness in the cave. In front of Longchen, there was a water surface with a radius of several hundred feet, like a small lake. Although the lake appeared to be filled with water, Longchen immediately realized that the lake contained an extremely dense fiendish energy. Therefore, it was impossible for the lake to be filled with water. The most likely possibility was that it was filled with water. It was most likely blood. In the center of the lake, there was a looming, or it could be said that there was a constantly flickering light shadow. This light shadow was about the size of an 8 or 9-year-old baby, and it was difficult to tell what it was from its appearance. At this time, the call sounded again. Descendants of the dragon race. At this moment, Longchen was able to clearly see that this call actually came from the light figure in the small lake. It was also at this moment that the faintly discernible silhouette in the small lake finally stabilized and converged into the shape of a 9-year-old child on the surface of the lake. The child looked at Longchen and said slowly, "You're finally here." Longchen was confused and quickly asked, "Who are you?" The child smiled and said, "I can feel that you have the blood of my dragon clan in your body." The blood of the heavenly dragon clan? Longchen was shocked and asked again, "Who are you?" The child's silhouette flickered again. From Longchen's point of view, the child seemed to have disappeared for a moment and then reappeared. The child stabilized his body and said, "Descendants of the dragon race. Since you have the blood of the dragon race, are you willing to make a contribution to the Longmeng polar region?" From the child's words, Longchen felt that this child should be a weak light shadow formed by the essence of a true dragon. "I have to know who you are, right?" Longchen frowned and said, "This is the ancient battlefield mountain range in the Longmeng polar region. I came in through a large formation. Can you tell me what's going on here?" Hearing this, the child's expression became a little serious and said, "I am the golden dragon of the Hongmeng dragon clan. The ancient battlefield you mentioned should be the place where I fought with the humans of the 3 polar regions, right?" Longchen nodded and said, "Yes, it has been 100,000 years since that battle. 100,000 years? The child was a little surprised. After a while, his surprised expression slowly faded and he let out a long sigh. "I didn't expect that 100,000 years had passed. I actually stayed here for 100,000 years." After knowing that this child was once a golden dragon of the primordial chaos dragon race and a member of the dragon race who participated in the war, Longchen was no longer as nervous. He slowly said, "Senior, since you survived the war, why didn't you leave?" "Why? Also, you said that you wanted me to make a contribution to the Longmeng polar region. What's going on?" The child nodded and said, 100,000 years ago, the Hongmeng Tao ancestors of the 3 polar regions, Pangmeng polar region, Linmeng polar region, led their polar armies to besiege the Longmeng polar region. Longmeng, the patriarch of the dragon race, led the entire dragon race to resist desperately. In the final battle, 2 fists were no match for 4 hands. After the patriarch Longmeng died, the cultivators of the dragon race successively died in the hands of the 3 Hongmeng Tao ancestors. I, the golden dragon Longgang, was lucky enough to preserve my soul and was able to leave behind a trace of consciousness. I was able to struggle at death's door again. Longchen paused. Longchen knew a lot about the formation 100,000 years ago. In addition, after coming to this ancient battlefield, Longchen might know more about some things than the golden dragon in front of him who called himself Longgang. However, Longchen did not understand the things in this ancient battlefield, such as the formation in the central area and the golden light ball he had seen before. Longchen said with a dignified expression, "If Senior's soul does not dissipate, is it possible?" Before Longchen finished speaking, the golden dragon Longgang sighed and said, "It's not that I don't want to leave, but I really can't. In order to preserve my soul, I spent too much of my Hongmeng Qi. Although I succeeded in preserving my soul and had the hope of prolonging my life, under the heavy attack of the Hongmeng Tao ancestor, I had no choice but to sleep. I don't know how many years have passed since I slept. When I woke up, this world had already become like this. At that time, I also wanted to leave. However, the moment I was about to leave, I discovered something extraordinary." "What happened?" Longchen was a little curious when he heard this. The Golden Dragon Gang continued, "When I was about to break free from the suppression of this world, an extremely ferocious aura appeared behind me. At that time, I was also curious, so I went to investigate. That was how I obtained such a shocking harvest. It turned out that because of the war that year, almost all the practitioners of the 4 polar regions died again, and each of the practitioners who died was an expert of the Hongmeng Tianjing. Therefore, when they died, they used all kinds of secret methods to preserve part of their souls like me, so they had the possibility of surviving. However, these practitioners were not as lucky as me. Their souls did not awaken, but were swallowed by a special existence. You're tuning into the Mythic Realms YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.